Bosch has like any problems, it's like white privilege.
Probably. Sometimes with some of this shit, I think I am genuinely too autistic to tell, and I need like a sign or something.
I think Vosh's biggest problem is that he's a smug cunt. Way too
That's
smug.
fair.
Wait, you aren't Canklemore?
Nope. I'm not a smug.
I guess I'm taking the L on this one. Cankle said so.
Yes.
Wait, are you just being smug with me right now? Fucking fun. I prefer smug bug over smug.
Weird.
Yeah.
Bug is on here?
Why was he not in here? Send him an invite.
I think he is super fucking smart. I was really impressed.
God, I could have played poker with him tonight. Shit.
Poker.
Yeah.
I need to join Linerbox's server.
I didn't know Linerbox had a server. Can you send me an invite too? I didn't even know
Oh
he had a
Is
my
the music
god,
really
now
too
it's
low?
become too... No, I'm just kidding.
Hold on, I can't.
Well, now it's one too many. There we go. I tried to get Lonerbox to do that wick panel with me. I feel like he almost did it and then he didn't. Sad.
He can just collect info on all the panels because he knows he's going to be invited to them, so he has like a little timetable. So he always knows when they're going to happen, and then he like content watches them. It's like, oh, I'd be too tired. It's too late. I'm a British boy. I was kidding. Just kidding.
I will admit that, like, I do watch a lot of channels and stuff, like, listen to them in my off time.
Is this better?
Like, I'll listen to a Destiny debate while I'm doing art or something.
This actually reminds me, Kanko, as much as I don't like screaming matches, I think we do have to talk about something like about cadence. Because, like, I can fall asleep to pretty much any of your streams, and that's not good.
You know what show I fall asleep to? Mayday Air Disasters.
No, like, I'm being serious. I had your stream on last night, and I just passed the fuck out. Like, it was
Good.
no big deal.
I'm doing ASMR content. That's the point.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, obviously. Can you not hear my voice right now?
I thought that was the... Never mind. I'm not going to make that joke.
No, we can't.
Based.
I'm actually just speaking like this because I'm really high on mushrooms. Good for you.
I really
That's
thought you were
fun.
about to say something way worse.
Really high on...
Did you just say meth?
Maybe.
That sounded like you huffed the mic.
You wouldn't want to do
I
meth
might-
and mushrooms at the same time.
Well, probably not. Yeah,
No,
brutal
that's
combo.
okay. So I've done something called 2cc before, and it's so basically what that's like is like designer LSD, with two methylated groups on it, or a methylated group on the first carbon. I think so. No, a chlorine group on the first carbon. So it's actually a chlorine methyl group. And so what that does is it gives it like an acid feeling with a bit of speed. And it's not that bad. It's actually kind of fun. Like, it definitely makes you want to go out and do stuff. It's more colorful, more visual.
Yeah, but I feel like that's what candy flipping is for.
I love candy flipping.
Same. I haven't
And
done that in a long time.
I can't do
point?
MDMA anymore. It's sad because I'm on a Fexer, so it just won't work.
Hell.
and shouldn't, because that's going to put your brain through hell.
Oh, I've already done that.
If not your brain, then your kidneys.
It's funny you mentioned 2cc, because I am a big drug nerd as well.
Oh my god, and I just remembered what the naming convention was. 2CB is brominated, 2CC is chlorinated, 2CE is ethylated, 2CM is methylated.
2CE was wild. I would never do it again.
They're all pretty much the same at the end of the day.
I'm pretty sure 2CB was the first psychedelic I ever did, and it was terrible.
Yeah, I've heard that's the worst one too. Bromine is just not a good compound to use. It is more available in some ways than chlorine precursors in some ways, depending on what you need to start with.
I did one of... Oh, sorry.
Never mind, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I did one of, like, the... Was it, like, 5-MeO or something? Like, one of the weirder tryptamines, and that was really fun.
5-MeO. Yeah, 5 methoxidase or something like that. Methyloxidase.
It was a lot like a mushroom trip, but more controllable, like LSD is.
And it's generally weak, unless you're taking like something like an ayahuasca mix. It's generally weaker because it's a monoamine oxidase inhibitor. Oh wait, no, it's a monoamine oxidase.
5-MeO
And that-
DMT is famous for putting people into the void.
I might be thinking of something else. It was one that was weird.
So the reason 5M okay. The 5
Might have been dipped.
means a meth. So it depends on what we're talking about it. So what was sorry, 5-MeO what though? Because there's 5-MeO MIPT, there's 5-MeO DMT. 5-MeO MIPT is pretty great, but it's a lot
Ninetales
weaker.
brought them in.
5-MeO
New person to the server.
DMT is like
Caldoge.
because there's so many receptors in your brain for it, and because it just does so much, it puts you in a hole. So did you do 5-MeO MIPT?
You know what I think I did? I think I did MIP.
Yeah.
It must have been the weaker one because it was like... I didn't have any negative side effects, really.
I don't remember my DMT trip now that I think about it. I remember afterwards feeling like I was in a dream.
I don't
I also
remember any
have-
of my DMT trips. I used to make this stuff, and I did it so many fucking times, and every single time I did it, I would black out for a few minutes and felt like I blinked, and I didn't remember a single one except for this like one early on where I think I took like 2 hits and then like sat back on my couch. My friend was on the other end of the couch. She did the same thing, and it was just like a behind the eyes or behind the eyelids sort of like visual thing.
That's all it's supposed to be, by the way.
And there wasn't a blast off. It was just like we saw things behind our eyelids. Like it was really light. There wasn't really much to it. We're totally there, coherent. We're not like dropped into another world. It was very mild.
I've heard the best way to actually deal with it is a larger quantity but ingested, like you parachute it.
Unless you take it with an MAOI, then that doesn't work.
Oh, well, yeah, so take it, whatever. Just, that's what I meant, though.
Yeah.
But then you're making like, yeah, pharma. I was gonna say synthetic ayahuasca, but if there's already a better word for it, why not?
Yeah. I have an MAOI powder with some of the best batch I ever made DMT. It's like a little bit of it left. I have yet to do any of that.
Don't ingest it though, because you're just gonna throw up.
You could make changa with it.
True. I actually tried to do that. I think I have a little bit of that left too.
I love changa. It's so much fun.
I actually like smoking passion flower, which has an MAOI in it. while I'm high on mushrooms. The problem with me is like I'm very serotonin sensitive. So like any changes in my serotonin system and I feel it like I swear to God like 10 times more than most people do. And part of that might have to do with both like me being autistic but also schizotypal with that running in my family, which means I probably have like pretty high and I've had it my whole life levels of toad venom in my urine, which also means in my endocrine system and probably I've always been kind of like slightly high on psychedelics, which actually explains a lot about me.
What?
Yeah, there's been research that shows people with like schizotypal autistic overlap have clinically significant levels of bufotoxin, aka toad venom, in their urine.
That's cool.
So there's some part of my body that's synthesizing it. They don't know which yet. I'm pretty sure it's in my gut and through my serotonin system because that's the part that's like I swear to God, my gut and my emotions, stuff like that, they're like these very, very finely tuned but
Mud
highly
crab.
sensitive detectors.
Psychedelics are not drugs that fuck
can
your
just
life up.
detect all these
They're
different
drugs
changes
that
I
get
don't
you
even
off of the
understand.
drugs that fuck your life
And
up.
it affects me heavily. And all I can try to do is like keep them in stasis.
You fuck.
So what I've come to realize is if I'm in a bad stasis, mushrooms get me out of it very easily. And then if I need to go into stasis, the passion
Strawberries
flower, the MAOI, kind of like mellows things out, and it doesn't keep it where it is, but it helps me approach like equilibrium faster.
Do you guys know President Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Raisin
President
Mint-
Sunday.
He
Raisin
just
Mint Sunday.
he just admitted to liking Destiny. I never thought he'd do that publicly.
Who cares?
I know, I don't care, because I kind of want to be friends with him, but
Hey, get out if you're gonna bring stuff nobody cares about.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding.
Kankles, are we starting this? Are you live yet? Sorry, I'm
live. Yeah.
oh sorry.
You were talking about wanting to improve the space,
Can I
and
call you Kellodge?
you call me Kel Dodge? Sure, I don't care. It's
So-
a Kel Doge, but
Oh, okay. No, I'm gonna save Kel Dodge for if you ever dodge a debate. So Kel Dodge. We do have like a semi rule going on right now where we're trying to like watch the stream, let a bit happen, and then respond, kind of like as a group,
Okay.
just for flow. This is why I told you to tell him, Kinkles.
Well,
It is him. It is he, him pronouns, by the way, right?
He, him, or they, them.
oh fuck. There we go.
What?
I just forgot to unmute the shit. Oh, and it's still muted.
See,
Hold on.
There, in a small way, he's living my dream because I've always wanted to be the person who debates Jordan Peterson.
Test.
How do you think he
Does
would
this work?
do
Yes,
if
it
you were
does.
to
Hello,
debate
hello,
him?
hello.
When I really wanted to, like, I would have done shit. Now I think it would be at least interesting. I don't know how I'd do now. I could do well.
Yeah, we had the PVD thing, so we
I have a hint
Crab,
for you.
You better be trolling me right now.
Look
Mushrooms
in
helped
his
me
like
clean.
original lectures and stuff. All the cringe is there, but
LSD.
it's like 8 hours of listening.
Oh yeah, that's just basic Oppo research.
Or is the live stream on right now?
I wrote a paper on him a couple years ago. He has some weird ties to like people that were against the Winnipeg school board or like school division implementing like policies to combat homophobia.
Huh. Man, this is some riveting content by Destiny. Thank God, this was all well set up and planned in advance.
I think it probably was, but
Are you used to
You know.
yourself talk in a headset?
I prefer it actually.
they
I like it like makes all the extra
Gotta
noise,
let them in.
outside.
Yeah,
It's
honestly,
nice and quiet.
streaming without monitor headphones does not make sense.
Test, test. Can you hear yourself pretty well?
I
Yeah,
agree.
I can hear myself. I can't see anything.
I agree.
Am supposed to see something?
Whatever you want. I think.
Just I'm tech not that smart when it comes to tech. At
That's
all.
how I know
no
that
worries.
this is
Maybe
the
just
proper
go to
level for
level.
What platform are you on?
ASMR.
What platform is this?
Kick and YouTube.
Great, awesome. What's up, Kick?
Okay. Do you see yourself on the
Just
screen here?
kidding.
Goodbye.
Do you see myself on the screen?
Okay, move over a little bit so the chat's not blocking you completely.
But I miss some precious words from Candace.
Go.
Okay. Yeah, good.
How's that?
Pretty good.
I don't think she said anything.
All right. Well, what are you doing here? What's going
What
on?
precious words.
I just did
True.
PBD, Patrick McDavid.
Mm-hmm.
They know you over there, right?
Gross.
Are you laughing?
Maybe.
Why?
I know. I'm good. Do you know Adam over there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just asked Adam. He was like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, I know Adam. Me and Adam are cool. I'm not as much sure about the PVD guy. I'm pretty. I'm a pretty far left guy, and I disagree with a lot of stuff they say in a pretty crazy way. So.
They got both on that show. That's why it's so great. But I just did something with Chris Cuomo. He couldn't be further left. That's what I just did.
Yeah, I saw it. Well, but when they bring on left guys, it's usually to roast the fuck out of them. So.
This has got to be the most delusional, brain dead thing. Out of everything Candace Owens has ever said, saying that the PBD podcast is like a in the middle kind of show is fucking retarded. It's so stupid. I can't. It's so.
I would classify them as somewhere between center right and just right wing. That's what I would classify them as.
Yeah. They're like, yeah. They're not far right because Adam is there, but it's all on the right.
No, that's not what happened at all.
Oh, that might not have happened this time. That's what I've seen. When I had Anthony Weiner on, it was that. When I've seen other left-leaning guys go on, it's usually like a rake him over
Well,
the
one of
coals
them
that-
is on the left, right?
Which guy?
So, I really thought that Adam just said I've never voted for a Republican, but I might vote Republican.
I think Adam is fair.
Yeah.
I think Adam is fair generally from what I've seen, but he's like center at best. And I'm not even like a communist type guy, but I mean like Adam is like pretty center. Like he's like a. I just don't think he's behind all the Trump stuff.
But why laugh if I'm like, I just went Patrick McDavid? It's like, haha, like what's that?
Oh, sorry. In my world, there's a lot. There's always like a lot of drama and people hitting each other behind. So I just laugh because it's funny because I'm not sure if those guys hate me or not. I've been on their show once. They seem like cool people, but the Patrick guy has said kind of weird things about me or my fan base before. So it's kind of like a funny. It's just a funny thing. There wasn't anything deeper to that. I
Oh,
promise.
okay. No, I was just curious. I was like, because you
People
would
are
go
saying
on a
things about
platform with someone on the
Destiny's
right,
fan base.
presumably.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, because you said
You're
because
not
I'm on the
good.
left when I
True. Based. DGGL.
All right.
asked you, and I was like, what does that mean? Like, why we need more conversations. It doesn't need to be, I'm on the left, I'm on the right. It's like, what do you actually think? You know, what do you actually believe?
Sure, I agree for sure. Yeah. What are you talking about mainly over the past week or two? What's the stuff that's captured your attention, your eyes the most?
Man, I talk about everything on my show. I mean, obviously, I think the biggest topic for me
Talks about
has been
everything.
the Diddy lawsuit. It's the craziest thing that's come out, I think, since Jeffrey Epstein. And it's definitely
Crab, get it
significant.
right.
I
It's
wonder
a
how
living room.
catty
Talking
she's
about
gonna get.
Just
Very.
I guess really asking the question is what's happened to black culture, because this is not the black culture that I grew up with, and the Diddy lawsuit potentially answers a lot of those questions. So
Can you
What?
Can you say where you grew
Oh
up?
my god.
I was born in White Plains, New York, and I grew up in Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay.
Yeah, even if we do evaluate
can you catch
Candace
us on
on
the P.
what
Diddy
she
lawsuit?
believes, she's still an idiot.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
I haven't been in this area
What?
as much.
Are you kidding?
My mind has been, I've done Israel
Okay.
Palestine for the last 4 years or 4 months, and then like a whole bunch of red pill stuff before that. So my mind is not.
So,
Yeah.
in case
Catch
you
us
guys
up.
have not seen it, you can go over to my YouTube channel. I've been covering it, and if you're there, definitely subscribe. But so essentially, at the end of last year, Diddy was dating that girl Cassie for a long time, about 10 years.
Okay.
And she started making allegations that Diddy was very into some very sexually deviant things, what I would say.
Okay.
And forced her to do a lot of things against her
See,
will.
she's already
or drugs,
conflating
whatever. She filed this
Sexual
lawsuit and
deviancy and
basically
black culture. She is purely a right winger, and the whole like, oh, we should try to evaluate people based on what they believe, not just if they're left or right. Like, no, you're still just a propagandist who's towing the right wing line at the end of the day, trying to conflate all of these things in some sort of moral outrage against sexual deviancy, which is really sexual liberation.
work that I
What
do
was
is
she
talking
said?
about just, or I guess really asking the question is what's happened to black culture? Because this is not the black culture that I grew up with, and the Diddy lawsuit potentially answers a lot of those questions. So,
Do you say where you grew up?
I was born in White Plains, New York, and I grew up in Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay. What can you catch us up on the P. Diddy lawsuit? I haven't been in this area
What?
as much.
Are you kidding?
My mind has been, I've done Israel
Okay.
Palestine for the last 4 years or 4 months, and then like a whole bunch of red pill stuff before that. So
Yeah.
my mind is not.
So-
I'm just too afraid he
in
pissed
case
on
you
him like
guys
R.
have not seen
Kelly.
it,
Or
you
pissed
can
on
go
someone
over
like
to my
R.
YouTube
Kelly.
channel. I've been covering it.
I haven't heard about it either.
And if you're there, definitely subscribe.
The Diddy stuff. He pissed on R. Kelly.
No. I was saying I was afraid it was a repeat of that.
Oh. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
oh.
one of the claims is that he fucked Meek Mill in the ass, I guess. And he
I
like-
wish people would be normal.
Yeah. That'd be
What does
dope.
that mean?
What does normal mean?
Never mind. Just play the video.
Do you need a definition, Nine Tails? I know you're not that bright.
This will spark a debate.
Yeah, it
Don't
will.
even.
I'm just fucking with you.
But so essentially, at the end of last year, Diddy was dating that girl Cassie for a long time, about 10 years.
Okay.
And she started making allegations that Diddy was very into some very sexually deviant things, that I would say.
Okay.
And forced her to do a lot of things against her will, or drugs, whatever. She files this lawsuit, and basically overnight, I'm obviously being a bit hyperbolic, but he pays her off.
Nice,
so
Addie.
it ends.
It's funny.
And then Cat Williams kind of alludes to the fact that more stuff
Also,
is gonna
Allie,
come
I
out in
have heard the
2024,
allegations.
And then
It's
a
fucking insane.
producer whose name is Rodney drops a lawsuit, and he alleges to have, hundreds of hours of footage backing up his claims. And in the lawsuit, he actually dropped pictures. So it wasn't just this, because you can always have a frivolous lawsuit. It can mean nothing. And what essentially his lawsuit suggests, allegedly, just for protection here, is that there's a blackmail ring in Hollywood. Diddy is a gangster. On top of Diddy sits Lucian Grange, who is the CEO of Universal Music Group. And this was, for me, one of the wildest parts. He tells a story about one night where Diddy got mad at somebody and just shot them in like the stomach and the hip. He shows the pictures of the blood all around the bathroom because he was right there when the person got shot, and he allegedly went to his knees and tried to help the person. It was Diddy and his son who allegedly shot him. But they said that there's one person that you call when something like that happens, and that guy's name is like Fahim something, and he will come clean it up. The LAPD will write a fake police report, and he shows like how the news then reported that the
She
shooting
didn't know
happened
P.
outside,
Diddy was a
and then it
gangster?
got wiped under the rug.
What?
And what's interesting is that guy who you call, the security guy, was the same security person who was one of only 2 people there when Michael Jackson died. So it's now reopened. All the Michael
I feel like
Jackson
that
stuff.
should be like
Super
pretty-
interesting. A lot
pretty
of
easy to gauge.
stuff that I would say, a lot of proof presented in these documents. Like I said, there's a lot of photos included. And if what he is spelling out is correct, then it's basically a homosexual ring that works by blackmails. They host these, what he calls
What?
freak
No.
offs, and they drug
There's no
people
reason
and
it's
they get them
homosexual.
to
Shut
sleep
up.
with a minor.
It's a homosexual ring.
This is why she opened it up with this sexual deviancy shit. And then she pivoted right to the actual details. She opened up with vague posting for no reason and then pivoted for no reason, but this is the reason.
Wait, you said there's no reason it's homosexual. I mean, there is. Like, I don't believe it, but there is. Like, the whole allegation is that he's fucking dudes in the ass, recording it, and using it as blackmail.
Is it dudes? Because I thought the
Yeah.
first person she mentioned was... Okay, I thought I heard a woman's name. My bad.
I think there's like one woman, but most of it's like men. Also, even if it was
awkward.
like bi, she would still call it gay.
True.
Or do something.
Like,
that
how
you wouldn't
relevant
want.
is it going to be? Like, would making sex tapes against women and using that as blackmail be any different, really?
Yeah. Not.
Yeah?
I mean, it wouldn't be as effective, probably. But probably those women don't want their families seeing them fucking this dude for money.
like there's always the possibility that some of these guys are closeted, but if there's no way they were all closeted, let's be real.
No, the guys weren't. They were just taking one for the career. It was the narrative is Diddy says, "Let me fuck you," and record it. I'll make your career huge, and if you ever cross me, this video is getting leaked.
I mean, if they were aware of it, I have less compassion for them. I don't know if I'm discompassionate, but you really shouldn't ever make that agreement with anybody.
No shit. People want
Ever.
millions.
Duh.
It's the same security person who was one of only 2 people there when Michael Jackson died. So it's now reopened, all the Michael Jackson stuff. Super interesting.
Because
a lot
the
of
same
stuff
security
that I would
person was there
say-
that doesn't really open the Michael Jackson stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's pretty retarded.
A lot of proof presented in these documents. Like I said, there's a lot of photos included. And if what he is spelling out is correct, then it's basically a homosexual ring that works by blackmails. They host these, what he calls freak-offs.
The
And they
homosexual
drug people
ring.
and they get them to sleep with a minor or do something, that you wouldn't want publicized.
Everybody
And then
knows
they
it's
own you,
gay.
right? Because it's like, well, we have
If
you on
anything,
camera
he sounds
doing
more like a
this.
homophobe
And so
who
you're going
thinks,
to say or do whatever
like,
I
them
want. So
being
very
gay
much.
is just horrible or something.
I mean, she's a Christian. She probably does think it's pretty fucking horrible.
No, I'm saying P. Diddy is, if anything, like a homophobe who
Oh.
thinks that, like, there's something intrinsically wrong with it.
I don't think that's the implication of that at all.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm contrasting it to it being like a homosexual ring.
Not gonna lie, that's straight up psycho behavior from Diddy.
Yeah, if it's true. But yeah, even Nine Tails, even in that, I don't see that as Diddy being a homophobe. Like, you're saying because he sees it as negative for these guys to have that type of sex tape be leaked because they're guys.
I'm just saying, like, with that interpretation in the air, it really makes the idea that it was some sort of ring of homosexuals, like, more debatable.
Oh, I don't
not
think
saying-
that's
I'm
what
not
she
saying
means.
it-
I think she means it's like a blackmail ring. So it's like a gay blackmail thing where like he's not like he's preying on these people because he knows that they are probably not gay and they don't want that type of thing coming out.
So
And
my
it's
question at this point
emasculating.
is: Destiny going to force her to, like, bring this back to Black culture or not?
I don't know. I only caught the tail end, but we'll see.
I wasn't asking you. I was
Oh,
asking you to play the video.
fuck you.
thing. A lot of stuff that I would say, a lot of proof presented in these documents. Like I said, there's a lot of photos included. And if what he is spelling out is correct, then it's basically a homosexual ring that works by blackmails. They host these, what he calls freak-offs, and they drug people and they get them
Freak-off?
to sleep with a minor or do something, that you wouldn't want publicized. And then they own you, right? Because it's like, well, we have you on camera doing this, and so you're going to say or do whatever I want. So very much like the Jeffrey Epstein stuff.
Gotcha. Are these in indictments or are these just like affidavits or statements to the media? Is any
The
of this stuff,
minors
like,
are
gone to court
involved, I
yet,
guess,
It's
or-
the
is
lawsuit
more
that he filed.
related
So
to
we're reading
Epstein.
the lawsuit
Okay.
documents directly.
Is this,
And-
this is a civil lawsuit, I'm guessing?
yes,
Okay.
he's suing Universal Music Group. He's suing Lucy and Grange, personally. He alleges that Lucy and Grange and Diddy are in a relationship by saying that, like, they disappear into Diddy's room and for hours, and like, this is the stuff that I've seen. I was groomed for sex. Like, essentially, he wasn't a gay man, but then Diddy found him when he was young. These are the allegations he's making. Again, a lot of photos, like, of other rappers. He's named like Cuba Gooding Jr., who's an actor.
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Is
you know?
there has any of this stuff like leaked to the media in terms of like pictures or strong hard evidence, or are these mainly just in the charging documents or the civil case documents so far?
That's also what's really interesting is that yes, it's being covered, but not in the way that it should be covered. The fact that you don't know about it, to me, is crazy, because we've never seen someone that with hundreds of
less
hours of
interesting
footage
that we
and putting
can't
in
see
photos
them,
like, here's a picture of the
Candace.
drugs that I have to carry at all times to keep Diddy high. Here's the name of the woman that gets the drugs. Here's a drug dealer. Here's a photo of me with this person. Here's the blood on the floor that night. It's like we've never seen this much proof to make those claims. So it's definitely something to watch.
Somebody said, I just see in chat, somebody said over 100 million to the first civil suit that got settled in less than 24 hours. Is that true?
What's that? Over 100 million to...
The first civil suit that got settled in less than 24 hours.
Did that happen with this?
I have no idea. I just
You might be talking about Cassie, because that got settled pretty quickly.
Oh,
and,
gotcha.
And yeah, that Diddy's basically just at the top of a gang, and the person that's above him is Lucien Grange, which is just wild.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What do you think? You made
Nobody-
a mention that this might be an
If
indicator
this
of
is
things
a serious suit, nobody's settling on it. There's no way.
that have happened.
Seba, like, I'm open to hearing your thoughts on this, but
I mean, you want to know something? Everyone has a price. If you dangle enough money in front of them, they'll take it. Especially if it's someone who has a lot to lose on the line. $100 million, you're gonna have a hard time finding someone to say no to $100 million. I mean, they could
wouldn't that
wipe it.
be 100 million to each of the victims?
It depends on who they settled with. So if they
Alright.
want to sideswipe the other plaintiffs and just approach one plaintiff and say to him, "Hey, look," or her, or they, and say to them, "Hey, look, I'll give you specifically $100 million to go away," and usually that happens if there are facts associated with that specific plaintiff to get rid of, so it doesn't worsen the trial for the defendant. So, for example, let's say plaintiff one has a really strong, the facts are really strong, and the defendant wants to get rid of plaintiff one, and so settles with him, and then plaintiff two is left over, and the facts aren't that strong with plaintiff two. And he'll take his chances litigating with plaintiff number two. So that's what might have happened.
Okay.
Happened with black culture.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that, I guess?
So there has been just a very obvious corrosion in black culture. Like the music that I grew up in, I was listening to The Temptations, Lauryn Hill. Like it was all about like family, love, it was
Diddley.
real talent.
Funny.
And then something just really shifted, and it all became about derogatory, debased gangster rap. And it's a change that I've noted in a lot of my commentary. And you know, I think other people
You
have.
attribute it to
Like I asked the
wokeness
question. There's a
incorrectly?
really, in my view, disgusting artist, just in terms of the stuff that she publishes and the photos that she publishes, named Sexy Red, who they're now making a thing, right? Who makes the decision to sign a Sexy Red? You're telling me you have all the money and all the talent at your fingertips, and you sign a woman who, at her baby shower, 9 months pregnant, however pregnant she was twerking and had her butt cheeks in, like somebody's face was inside of her butt cheeks. That to me is very intentional, because you're not signing her based on talent. You're not signing her based on following. You're signing her because it's filth, and you're perpetuating this filth into my community. So
I swear I
it's just something that
understand
I've
crackhead
noticed and I
Barney's
talk about
sense of
often,
humor now.
that we're intentionally being sold crack. It feels like, you know.
So I'm trying to think of which direction I want to go.
Any
Can I
direction you
say
want.
some-
I'm an open
can I
book.
Yeah, you're
just
fine.
quickly
There are okay.
point something out?
Destiny has a hard time going where to go from this, because he's like, man, she's talking about this. How am I supposed to bring this back to reality?
Like, if Candace was around in the and Keldoge might know some about this. Like, a lot of people, like if you look at Eminem and people like that, Candace would have been on board with what they were saying and why they were being so like outright. Like, they felt censored by things like political correctness and liberals who are like, you can't say that because we don't say that, and you know, it felt like an imposition to them. Am I mistaken? Like, I'm pretty sure that's how a lot of this came about. There's also, of course, the production side of the music industry.
Well, it's kind of interesting you mentioned that, because I'm old enough to remember when, like, it was the Republicans doing it. Like, it's kind of weird, because when I was, like, younger, it was, like, right-wing sensitives, and then it kind of switched.
Oh, when I say liberals, I mean like an establishment that's right wing compared to me.
Oh, I see.
Like the pearl clutchers, right? People who are essentially just
Oh, yeah.
reactionaries at the end of the day and are trying to control what happens in society by limiting things like queer culture and stuff like that.
I'm pretty sure Eminem got in trouble with the Secret Service.
I know
What?
from his lyrics he got in trouble with the FCC.
He did threaten Cheney a lot, and Cheney seems like a vengeful bastard.
Yeah, it was totally an accident that he shot his coworker.
He thought he was a deer.
An orange deer. They're rare, but you gotta keep an eye out because that's what makes them extra juicy.
I don't
Or
know
was it
much about that story, but I do know that that is a very common occurrence when hunting. Accidentally shooting somebody you're hunting with.
It's
You
part of the rush. Like you never know if you're gonna get shot by your own hunting partners. Keeps you on guard.
True.
It's really hard to kill devils.
Plus, you have to think like the deer in order to hunt it, right? So the best way to think of the deer is like, how would I feel if I was being hunted by a hunter? It's like, well, now I know.
Okay, so there are like two
Range.
kind of different ways of viewing this.
I
feel like
always
you fall
did
more to one
tree
side and I'll go to one
stand
side
with
and,
my
see if we can
grandpa.
iron out or figure where we are
Based.
at, I guess, in the middle here. I feel like when you look at the evolution of, when we say like degenerate black culture or degenerate black music, I think we're generally talking about
There we
like,
go,
the beginning
Destiny.
of hip hop and rap, and then kind of the evolution of that going forward, coming away from like the R&B singers and everybody like in the 50s, 60s, 70s, or whatever, right?
Yeah. But hip hop isn't always filth. But yeah, I get,
sure.
I get your point.
But that seems like
we're
the general.
generalizing.
Yeah. It feels like when I look at music, or if I look at music that people create, oftentimes the music is a reflection of their circumstances, and you can see, especially as America and the black communities became more conscientious, maybe of the ghettos that they'd been kind of pushed into, or the policing situations that they'd had to be a part of, or drugs destroying their communities, et cetera, et cetera. And then those people turning to crime, that you also see the music and the art kind of reflect those conditions, and then those pieces of art that get created, especially the music, end up being like worldwide popular. Like the most popular genre of music in the world is like hip hop and rap. So when I look at people pushing certain stuff today, I'm like, okay, well, we got two really big, in my opinion, I went to school for music, I don't know if you talk about the saxophone or whatever. So we had two really big contributions to the world of music from America. One was jazz, that came basically from the black community, and then the second was like rap and hip hop. These forms of music become popular. People see that it's popular. They want to get involved. Obviously, the money men, the people on top, they want to kind of continue to push this because it's popular, and everybody around the world consumes it. I feel like there are a lot of market forces at work that kind of perpetuate this and keep this happening. And that feels pretty satisfying to me to explain what's going on. So when we ask, like, why is it a woman twerking with somebody's face in her butt cheeks? Because, well, for whatever reason, that's like what the worldwide culture seems to want to see right now. And then on the other side, it feels like from people, I want to just say conservatives, but I would say broadly
Candace.
speaking, I guess I'll say on your side in general, it feels like there's this idea that there's this much more intentional or like malevolent force working behind the scenes.
Yes, there is, and so I'm going to push back on what you're suggesting here. You're suggesting that this reflects the community, and they're sharing their stories in a way that makes sense. That's completely not true. Okay, WAP does not reflect the circumstances that Black people are living in. You know, singing about your vagina and how hard it's getting pounded is not the circumstance of living in the hood. I come from nothing. It's not that did not make me feel closer to the circumstances that
That's a
I grew up
misunderstanding
in.
of his point.
I'm a pedophile.
That part he would refer to the market demand rather than, you know, a culture of circumstance.
I was not expecting her to say this.
Oh man, I was expecting her to. She is still mad about WAP. She is just as mad about WAP as Ben Shapiro still is.
Oh my god. That's like old now.
It's probably because she has vaginismus.
And unfortunately, that's actually what people are telling Black Americans. Like, actually, it's working the other way. You're putting something, your eyes and your ears are the windows to the soul. And you're basically, when you celebrate someone, and I'm using Cardi B here as an example because I think people are probably more familiar with her than they are with Sexy Red. When you put someone like that on the Grammys stage, which is, again, a decision being made. When I was growing up, the best, most talented people were on the Grammy stage. It was something you could watch with your family. And you still had poor people. You still had, you still had poor people. You still had people that were living in the hood. Okay, we didn't need somebody talking about their vagina in order to feel seen. So what you're doing is you're setting the stage for younger girls who aspire to celebrities to say, okay, well, if I mimic that behavior, I too can become famous. What you're actually doing is you're setting the idols.
The longer she goes on, the weirder it gets.
People are going to think this is what I should aspire to. True. So it's actually working in the exact opposite way.
Can I ask a question? In that like evolution of things, so if we look at like WAP,
Astra will always get special treatment.
Hasn't it generally been the case that music is always kind of pushing these sexual boundaries? So it might have been Elvis grabbing his crotch and dancing. It might have been
split the soul and your stories and
working behind the scenes.
Yes, there is, and so I'm going to push back on what you're suggesting here. You're suggesting that this reflects the community, and they're sharing their stories in a way that makes sense. That's
I feel like
completely not true. Okay, WAP does not reflect the circumstances that Black people are living in. Singing about your vagina and how hard it's getting pounded is not the circumstance of living in the hood. I come from nothing. It's not that did not make me feel closer to the circumstances that I grew up in, and unfortunately, that's actually what people are telling Black Americans. Like, actually, it's working the other way. You're putting something, your eyes and your ears are the windows to the soul. And you're basically, when you celebrate someone, and I'm using Cardi B here as an example because I think people are probably more familiar with her than they are with Sexy Red. When you put someone like that on the Grammys stage, which is, again, a decision being made. When I was growing up, the best, most talented people were on the Grammy stage. It was something you could watch with your family. And you still had poor people. You still had, you still had poor people. You still had people that were living in the hood. Okay, we didn't need somebody talking about their vagina in order to feel seen. So what you're doing is you're setting the stage for younger girls who aspire to celebrities to say, okay, well, if I mimic that behavior, I too can become famous. What you're actually doing is you're setting the idols that people are going to look up to, and people are going to think this is what I should aspire to. So it's actually working in the exact opposite way.
Can I ask a question?
She's just really
evolution of things. So if we look at like,
if she's just really confused about like what she's actually mad about. What she's mad about is the sexualization of women and objectification of women in media, and how that affects aspiring minds, and the lack of situational awareness that society seems to have towards that. That's a valid concern. She's trying to tie this to race issues as if we only see this in Black communities, which you don't. And Destiny is about to make another really good point, which is that music has always been kind of like on the cutting edge of sexual culture.
I think music is just a way to express yourself that would otherwise be not appropriate when done seriously. Almost like telling a joke. Show, don't tell. That's what music is. He's about to make a point regarding Elvis grabbing his crotch and how it pushed the boundaries, and further artists just kept pushing the boundaries.
Like WAP in particular, hasn't it generally been the case that music is always kind of pushing these sexual boundaries? So it might have been Elvis grabbing his crotch and dancing. It might have been Michael Jackson's dancing is incredibly suggestive if you've seen that. It might have been in Woodstock, all the loser hippies talking about love, sex, and
hell, way back drugs. In the day, you couldn't dance at all.
Footloose.
I'm talking like
she
the
supported
1700s.
Andrew Tate. How valid are her concerns about women?
Well, no,
she supported Andrew Tate. How valid are her concerns about women?
To dance in modern life, just like it'd be weird if I started saying what I'm saying as a song. And I think like one of the things that people kind of misunderstand is like there's a difference between someone who's acting so weird that they make you uncomfortable, and so you have to figure out what's going on, versus there's just some people who just want to dance or they just want to sing about things, right? Like, sorry, I forgot where I was going with this, but I do want to like I want to hone in on like if Candace was actually concerned about fixing this stuff, she would point to she would be making a bigger deal about women feeling like their bodies aren't good enough and all of the psychological effects that are affecting women today, and make this more of a feminist issue. And there is some intersectionality, like some Black feminist intersectionality, but you're way more likely to get a coherent message from someone like Kimberly Crenshaw on this than Candace Owens.
I should have known you were gonna say something about Kimberly Crenshaw when you're talking about.
You know, I
Women.
never got a
Aw,
chance to
you're
read
pretty
her. I never got a chance to read her work. I got to check up on her.
Wouldn't like WAP just be kind of like the next evolution in a long
No,
chain of
pushing boundaries is not degeneracy, okay? And so here's what I'll say to you. Why don't you pull up the lyrics to WAP and read them right now?
Well, I don't. Why would I need to do
Cool,
that?
it's just Woodstock. We're just pushing the boundaries a little bit. You probably have never even read the lyrics to WAP.
I think I did because I think Ben Shapiro had a
no,
huge thing about
he
it.
couldn't have said. You may have seen him reading
Was that?
Oh, he said it too, but Ben Shapiro read the whole thing.
Did he read the entire thing?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm out in Miami, ho.
the sanitized version of WAP, not the one that is not sanitized. Like the sanitized one, which is still bad, that she can perform at the Grammys, is what he read. You should read the lyrics to WAP before you make commentary that it's a reflection of what Black Americans are living through, or it's just somebody that's pushing a boundary. It's not that.
How do you explain the fact that like WAP was like a #1 like worldwide hit then?
Because what I said to you is that they are artificially creating artists at this point. There's no question. And by the way, the Diddy docs, which I found to be a very compelling point, was that Diddy said to the guy,
Candace, you have to
alleged.
acknowledge this, and if you can't remedy that, then you can't fix this problem.
True.
Who was the producer, that if he was willing to engage in homosexual behavior with him, that he would get him Producer of the Year Grammy. Okay, so what does that tell you? It means that the entire system is artificial. And by the way, this is something that Kanye said 10 years ago, or however long ago it was, when he took the trophy from Taylor Swift and said, like, this is all fake. This is not even based on merit anymore. And that is my point. The industry is not based on merit. It's not based on capitalism. It is based on selling ideas. So it is, who do we want to artificially make the person that every Black girl will look up to, or who they will aspire to?
What does that mean?
And
So I can definitely understand that, like, maybe award shows can be rigged, or people can think different things about, you know, who's being awarded based on merits for the Grammys or something like that. But like WAP was genuinely, do you think it wasn't genuinely a popular song, or do you think that music execs have the ability to manufacture that desire publicly?
The latter. So if you start playing something tons of times on the airways, and the latter, you can definitely make something popular. There are songs that I don't even like, that I've heard so much that I know every single lyric to. And I'm like, I don't even know how I know every single lyric to this song, but it's received this many plays. You put it everywhere. You award the person. You invite them to bizarre circumstance. Like, there's absolutely no reason that Cardi B is invited to sit down and ask questions to Joe Biden.
Like, she's half right. The problem is like, you can't make a shit song good just by overplaying it. People are just going to start talking about how shitty it is. You need there to be a degree of maybe just like listenability or palatability, as well as like some relatability. Like, they have to at least like some of the lyrics in the song, and some portion has to at least like it, in order for people to believe that it's actually like possibly a good song, and maybe their friends do like it for some reason. Why can't I think of an example right now? But I have thought of, like, in the past, like, examples of this where something was obviously bad. They tried to push it and nobody bit. Like, you can't just push things. People have to bite.
Okay.
Like, unless you remove all the other competition.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to me.
Okay.
Oh no, is it?
Okay.
So I,
In no
I
scenario,
can kind of,
unless you are really making an effort to legitimize this person and to make this person aspirational. Again, this is not an
Legitimize.
insult to Cardi. I actually think that personality-wise, she's got a ton of talent and she's interesting. And I've said great things about her on Love and
She's
Hip
got a
Hop, and there are
creative
elements of her
vocabulary.
that make her a star. But what I am saying is that a
I think
lot
enough
of that
people
is
say that word
manufactured,
that it
and
should be added to the dictionary.
I just don't see how anybody, when looking.
don't you think it's
at-
entirely possible or easily possible? So like, I feel like there's like so many things wrong with this. So one is, why wouldn't competing record labels start pushing talent that's actually popular that people want to hear? I think that would be a big question. A second thing would be, how can we explain the top-down domination of this type of media popularity through all of our reality TV shows, all of our TikTok stuff, all of our YouTube videos, and the music industry? And then how can you explain that all
Why would he say
happening
top down? Why
worldwide?
wouldn't he
Sure.
say
Like, it feels
bottom
like
up?
that, to try to explain this through
He's kind of like handing her a softball here by saying, how do we explain this top down domination? So maybe he has a way to like tie this to market demand better, but he just framed it in her favor.
It's an extremely bold flirt.
Wait, I'm a little
I'm just kidding.
confused.
When Destiny shouldn't have framed it as top bottom. He should have framed it as bottom up, because had Destiny said had he said from the bottom to the top, then it would have been like there was a market asking for this, and that they would have been attracted to this type of content.
Pop, and there are elements of her
I
that
gotta
make
hear
her a
this
star.
again.
But what I am saying is that a lot of that is manufactured, and I just don't see how anybody, when looking.
Don't you think it's
at-
entirely possible or easily possible? So like, I feel like there's like so many things wrong with this. So one is, why wouldn't competing record labels start pushing talent that's actually popular that people want to hear? I think that would be a big question. A second thing would be, how can we explain the
That's a
top-down
good
domination of this type of media popularity through all of our reality TV shows, all of our TikTok stuff?
Okay, I see what you meant. I thought he was talking about something else. I thought he was saying, how can you explain the top-down domination, like her idea of it being a top-down domination. How can you
Well,
explain
he's actually
your
referring
idea?
to the collective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff, all of our YouTube videos and the music industry, and then how can you explain that all happening worldwide?
Sure.
Like, it feels like that to try to explain this through through people that are exercising control on these platforms would require more control than anybody has ever been able to exercise on any platform ever, and they're doing it like on a multi-country,
Yes,
multi-stage
it's
level.
just called, it's very easy actually. It's a very basic concept pertaining to governments. They need propaganda.
That might have
Hollywood is
been what he was talking
propaganda.
about now.
You should.
Government
for those of you that are watching
propaganda?
this live.
That's ridiculous. That doesn't actually make sense. Like, there isn't government officials going into fucking P. Diddy's place being like, you have to have a gay sex ring.
Not as far as you know.
I mean, that would be interesting, but Candace's world does
Kidding.
not seem likely.
I mean, if that I agree with.
Like, maybe if like rap music was like this overly regulated thing and there was all of these like secret contracts that were being signed and it wasn't like transparent, like say like the aviation regulations are, then I'd be like, okay, maybe there's something there. But there is like like the government hardly even subsidizes rap music, for God's sakes.
There's probably some also constitutional limitations when doing that. The government.
Yeah, this
I
would be
don't-
the public sector of the market, if anything. Like, I know it's private music and I know it's private corporations, but like this would have nothing to do with government. Sorry, Seva.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you might be running into some constitutional issues if the government is handing out money based on speech. So. Can you play the video?
I'll let her cook at this point.
Go listen to the
I wanna hear
conversation
the
that Joe
psycho
Rogan
cook.
had with Cat Williams, where he talked about all of this. And he said, I know you think that you're being entertained. And this is somebody that comes from inside of the industry. And he starts talking about the Diddy stuff, the idea that in order to climb higher, you kind of have to engage in nefarious behavior, and how he was collecting all of this information and he was speaking out about what was happening inside of the industry. And he said it is twofold. You might be being entertained, but they are making decisions about what will entertain you. And
So now we're
great
taking what Diddy says
circumstance in
for
which he
granted?
presented that as evidence of that is transgenderism. And he asked
so-
hold on.
Okay.
He asked a question which should be answered.
Transgenderism.
At
this
Joe
point,
Rogan, and he laughed about it. He
it's
was
clear
like,
what she's doing. She's just cycling through her favorite buzzwords. She's made everything conspiratorial. Now she gets to call out transgenderism. She's alluding to wokeism. It's her agenda.
Yeah.
Well, you know, she's very smart for being able to memorize all that.
But it's like, if you were to, like, Destiny's audience is pretty much half listening most of the time, so she's probably going to get away with some of this, but there's also a lot of React streamers who are just going to hear all of this, and whew,
I mean, if they're half listening, she's probably not going to get away with anything because they're not listening.
and well, I'm just saying, like, anyone who is paying close attention will be very aware that, like, these are all non sequiturs.
This is a perfect pause. Cankle, you're like an artist at this. How did you pause it at the right moment? Destiny's just sitting there like, why am I listening to this? Candace, look at Candace's face.
Clipped it and shipping it to general chat.
You think if I made that picture of Candace Owens my profile picture, that would be blackface?
No.
Don't you already? Oh, damn it. I shouldn't say that.
No, right now I'm pink face.
Can you put that picture over her face for the entire thing? So that way it just always looks like she has that face.
It's not like you're pretending to be her. It's just an avatar.
Yeah, I know, I was just joking.
Did Michael Jackson do whiteface?
Yes.
Oh.
No.
Didn't he have that fucking disorder?
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Shit.
You ruin all of my jokes, Cankles. I swear to God.
They
You do
ruin
it on
themselves,
purpose.
Nightales.
No, you
Your
do it on
jokes are-
purpose.
Your jokes are literal AIDS, okay? I've
You are the
developed
government.
Hep C from your fucking jokes.
I found the government propaganda Candace is alluding to. It's right
It's
here in
you,
our
isn't it?
backyard. Oh, I wish. I'd be making great money. You, on the other hand, seem to have a lot of money you can just spend on cheap ass Pokemon cards.
I do not have a lot of money to spend on shit.
You collect Pokemon cards?
I do.
I do too.
Based.
Yeah, we had to intervene with him constantly unboxing on stream. Once per week, right, Cankles? We're good? Good, buddy?
What?
Once per... You can only unbox Pokemon
What are
cards.
you
We talked
talking about?
Okay, Cankles...
You're on drugs.
Remember? I feel like you're regressing, and we've had this conversation where you're driving away your viewers by unboxing stuff.
A guy wears a dress on the red carpet, okay? And then the media tells you how great he wore the
That
dress.
will
He was
make
like,
me a viewer.
He said, tell me one situation where he didn't wear the dress wonderfully. When he didn't wear the dress in a way that was amazing. It's
Well,
because
I've got a box
they have
to
all
open
agreed
soon.
that this is the narrative. And then he talked about the fact that the record execs
They're
also
Japanese.
own the publications that are saying that something is amazing
Jesus,
and something is
Cankle.
not amazing. And
The
that is
pictures you
just
posted say
plain
it all.
old-fashioned propaganda. So don't...
Just
you
you
don't
like the
necessarily
one that I
detach
cropped?
what we're talking
Little
about
extra?
from your concept of
Yeah.
what governments are interested in. It's always
Cankles, you're going to
propaganda.
need to replay what
So,
she's saying again if you don't listen.
I understand Cat Williams.
The entertain you. And a great circumstance in which he presented that as evidence of that is transgenderism. And he asked hold on, Rogan had
controlling all of our YouTube videos and the music industry, and then how can you explain that all happening worldwide?
Sure.
Like, it feels like that to try to explain this through through people that are exercising control on these platforms would require more control than anybody has ever been able to exercise on any platform ever, and they're doing it like on a
I've never
multi-stage level.
heard it said
it's
more
very easy,
perfectly
actually. It's
than
a very
that. She does have
basic
Hannah
concept
Gadsby
pertaining to
level
governments. They
comedy,
need
and
propaganda.
that is one of the worst
Hollywood is
comedians of all
propaganda.
time.
You should, for those of you that are watching this live, go listen to the conversation that Joe Rogan had with Cat Williams,
Hollywood.
where he talked about all of this, and he said,
I don't know if
think that
she
you're
knows
being
what she's
entertained."
talking about.
This is somebody that comes from inside of the industry.
She
and
definitely
he
doesn't.
starts talking about the Diddy stuff, the idea that in order to climb higher, you kind of have to engage in nefarious behavior, and how he was collecting all of this information, and he was speaking out about what was happening inside of the industry. And he said it is twofold. You might be being entertained, but they are making decisions about what will entertain you. And a great circumstance in which he presented that as evidence of that is transgenderism. And he asked hold on.
Okay.
He asked a question which should be answered. He said to Joe Rogan, and he laughed about it. He was like, a guy wears a dress on the red carpet, okay? And then the media tells you how great he wore the dress. And he's like, he said, tell me one situation where he didn't wear the dress.
Very fixated on the dress.
In a way that was amazing. It's because they have all agreed that this is the narrative. And then he talked about the fact that the record execs also
was it blue or a gold dress?
Are saying that something is amazing or something is not amazing, and that is just plain old-fashioned propaganda. So don't.
Oh shit!
You don't necessarily need to detach what we're talking about from your concept of what governments are interested in. It's always propaganda.
So
can I just point out the
Cat
irony?
Williams said this.
I was gonna let this go, but P. Diddy, transphobe, right? Somebody who's just absolutely reviled like right wingers are against trans people. Kind of had like his own little closet stuff going on, like transphobes tend to have.
Okay.
If that
It's a common pattern.
Mm-hmm.
The louder they are, the more likely they've also got like their own little things that they're trying to sweep for.
Yep.
he sounds like a straight up psycho if that shit is true. Like,
oh no, he did say that stuff about trans people. I remember that.
I did not hear any of that. Also know pretty much nothing about the fucking guy. Oh shit.
he used to rap with Biggie. He's not that good of a rapper though.
True. There was only one song that I think I've heard him in.
Better or worse than Pitbull?
I'm convinced that Pitbull's like a part of a drug operation or something. There's just no way.
He's just not a real person.
Android.
He's a walking thumb.
But he coined the term politricks, okay?
Politics?
I was just saying that Cat Williams
Yeah.
was at one point in his life addicted to crack.
There's
And
no
I think
such
he's
thing
famous
as
for losing a fight
politics.
to a high
There's
school
only
kid.
politricks.
I think this like benched his career for a while.
Okay, you can insult
That's pretty
him, but
based,
I'm
I'm not
actually.
insulting. I'm just
Like,
saying
if he
that
says
I
2
don't
plus
know.
2 equals
Wait,
4,
wait,
2 plus
hold
2
on.
equals 4.
I'm not insulting him. I'm just saying that to like lean into his testimony, who also we would both acknowledge has a lot to gain by giving like incredulous testimony like this, like saying like, oh my god, these crazy things are happening, right? I don't know if I would just say, well, right, he does. You're the fact that you're talking about him and you're citing him and you know it, right? If anybody else was saying a similar thing, we'd say, well, okay, they're saying this because they have something to gain for it, right? He knows that this is going to be a hot take, and he knows that it's going to go viral if he says it, and he knows he's going to get a lot of eyes on him for it. So I think it's good to call that into question. I think the issue that I have when it comes to the accusation that everything is some top-down level propaganda is I feel like the conversation shifts away from the important stuff, which is why are people attracted to this type of stuff? Why do people vibe with it so much? Why are we replacing traditional better forms of media or more thought-provoking, I don't know what you would call it, forms of media with this type of stuff? Instead of having conversations about the culture and the society, it's all fixated on some weird top-down plot to like control media consumption.
I think you just like to be contrarian because I don't understand the point that you're making here. Like, of course.
Wait, hold on, wait. Let me restate that. I'm sorry. The point I'm making is very clear. if I was going to,
That was
I've got
not at all just a
almost
contrarian
13-year-old
take.
son in a few days. Okay, if I was to see that he's consuming media, my go-to would be like, hey, Nathan, why are you watching this? This is crazy. We need to look at something else. I need to, like, who are your friends? What are you looking at online? Like, we need to change your media consumption habits because this isn't working. I would never think, like, I think that the school is involved in disseminating media towards him and there's no way that we can change this. Because I feel like on your side of the story, people are basically
can't wait until she gets really annoyed.
hopeless. There's nothing we can do.
No, it's not
She
hopeless.
already
But
is.
if you want to be able to do something about something, you need to be able to acknowledge the something, right?
What would the thing-
so
what would we
you can't
do
you
about
make it
it?
to make it's a conspiracy. It's like, no, when I graduated high school, there wasn't a single trans kid. Now you've got like more than 50% of kids that think that they're other. That is obviously propaganda. Clearly, there's just no. It's just not
More
possible
than
that they didn't exist.
50%?
Maybe there was one person, and then all of a sudden
Candace.
everyone is.
Sure, I think it's okay to
that
be
can only
interesting
happen.
Question: What if it was that trans people were erased until people stopped like forcing them to live as the gender they were born as? Just a possibility, right?
It reminds me of that chart that I always use where, like, they say, oh, like, trans kids are so high, but then it's just, like, a group of LGBT people overall, and it's mostly bisexuals. And the actual, like, number of trans kids is, like, 2% or something.
I wanted to refine my theory on like everyone is bisexual. I had a theory, right? Because like I think it depends on how horny you are.
You
Anyways,
don't have any studies indicating that?
yeah, these nuts.
I would agree.
Study these nuts.
No, thank you.
What nuts?
Kankles, yeah, no, Kankles specifically, I'm sexually harassing you right now. Study my nuts. Look in your DMs.
Present them.
And that can only happen
Yeah, look in
through
your DMs.
propaganda, right?
thanks.
They're
Maybe, yeah.
suddenly
Never
being
mind.
told
I
an
take back my
option.
statement.
They're
There's
kids,
no-
right?
Ew,
You want
gross.
to experiment, you want to be different, you're looking for a way to stand out. And so you hold on, and in the
If
classroom,
you send me your nuts and DMs, I'm gonna kill
teachers that
you.
are
Okay.
reinforcing this narrative,
they're
that
not
is,
my
yes,
nuts?
top down, right?
kidding.
It's
I
like
remember
Hollywood
that.
in
Doing
lockstep
it.
with the Department of Education
Who's
that
that?
is making these options available. If it was
You're
Giving
natural,
me
when I
really
graduated
mixed
high school,
signals, but I
there were
wasn't
gay
gonna
kids.
do it, so it's
There were
fine.
lesbian kids. There wasn't a ton of them. It wasn't an identity. That's another thing.
Yeah,
The
but that, I mean, back
identity
then,
thing
yeah, the identity
is
is
very
an
new.
interesting thing. I agree
Yeah,
for sure.
and so it shows you who are they emulating? Who are they copying when they do this stuff?
Or are they
Because it's an
emulating?
option. It's just being presented to you. It's obviously not natural if it didn't exist naturally. And
I
so
agree, but culture is a very complicated thing.
culture is not a
Movies
complicated
is
thing.
So
It's-
complicated. I think
they are-
governments
they are
pray that they have
deciding-
the amount
Gender
of control
isn't
over culture that you
natural.
think they do. There's no shot that anybody would be able to top
We
down
didn't
control
evolve to
well,
wear
that much
clothes.
stuff.
like I said, there have been a lot of evidence that has come out, whether you're looking at the Jeffrey Epstein case or you're reading through the 72-page document for the Diddy lawsuit
Well, I
that
mean, even on the
suggests
Jeffrey-
that the government is involved.
Even on the Jeffrey Epstein case, like what's suggesting government involvement here?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What's suggesting?
Like what
government
part of the
involvement?
Jeffrey Epstein case is like, oh my god, the government is like playing
Basic
a part in
question.
this?
Well, the fact
I have
that
a-
he had
Insane
Like this-
question.
Like, but can I just point out, like, anybody who's thought this through, who's actually thought about this, when asked, like, how do you know, right? Like, this is how you demonstrate that you've thought this through. This is where you make these connections if you've actually, like, planned this out and aren't just here to say bullshit. Sorry, Kel Dodge.
No, I just was gonna ask, like, for fun, do you guys think he's CIA?
Destiny?
Or, like, an asset? Not Destiny, Epstein. That would be funny if Destiny was a CIA asset.
I think it's more likely that he probably had, like, people who are affiliated or worked for the CIA, like, on his island.
Because they have all those tapes. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but the CIA would be able to fuck him, right? So, like, he's not gonna try to, like, fuck around. Like, I don't, like, even if it wasn't an investigation, like, he's not gonna blackmail a CIA agent. It's really dumb. That's a trip to Guantanamo if I've ever heard of one.
That sounds like fun. Let's go.
Oh my god, Kinkles, as a content creator, if you can find a way to be like, I got sent to Guantanamo, but like maybe it's like more of a tour, or like you can do like a Beyond Scared Straight tour. Oh man.
You would need to get to Mr. Beast level to do that.
No. We need to get Mr. Beast.
Man, could you imagine if Mr. Beast was like, I spent 1 week at Guantanamo Bay.
No, I sent this random. Sorry, I was gonna be mean. This rando streamer to Guantanamo. Here's what happened. And then at the end, he lets you decide if you want to live there forever. For free. You know, all your meals paid and everything. Is he still active? I think it's better if it's like abandoned, right?
Guantanamo is still open, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
That was one of the things Obama didn't deliver on.
Oh yeah, he promised to close it down, but never did.
Despite the multiple senators at the time being like, hey, Obama, shut this shit down.
Thanks, Obama.
Obama.
Had ties to the Mossad and the CIA, and that when they raided his home, he had his face and about
That
6
escalated
different
quickly.
passports. Who can issue passports?
Sure, but when we
Who,
look
no,
at
who can issue you a different identity in
I don't know
different
about
countries?
different identities, but for passports, I imagine you can get that illegally, or you can just get it from countries depending on citizenship status.
Well,
but what I'm saying is that, like, for when we look at Epstein, right? Epstein was a billionaire, right?
Why was he a billionaire?
Why? Because of trading or whatever he did. I'm not
No,
entirely sure.
no, that's the question.
No,
Nobody
sure.
knows
Yeah,
why
no, but I
him
don't know
or his
why.
brother
Yeah, but there's like
had
a million
billions of
different.
dollars.
Sure, there's lots of people where I don't know how they made their money, but to fill in the gaps of all of this with some.
No, you should always
huge
know how
conspiracy.
somebody became a billionaire. Like, that's like a very easy thing. Like, somebody shouldn't just be like, I became a billionaire, and you have no idea how. Like,
I'm sure there are tons of people who
it's
are
like,
billionaires
I
that
sold a
aren't.
product. You know why Elon Musk has money. You know why Jeff Bezos has money. You should not say we can't
Oh, is
connect
she
the dots
gonna,
on how
like,
this person became
corner
a
him on
billionaire that
this?
was able
The
to purchase
filings
an
aren't
island.
always going to be
You
public.
can't
that,
really
like,
know,
well, I
though.
can figure out exactly what
She's
this person
about to
can do. They don't work in like
out-destiny
public traded
Destiny.
companies or something. How will you ever know? There's no way you're going to know that.
Yeah, you can look at Wikipedia.
He did.
Then what's the question?
That's not a question. It's just nobody understands why Jeffrey Epstein or his brother have billions of dollars.
Well, you just said did he have a ton of shares in publicly traded companies?
What do you mean? Did he have a ton
Like
of
when we
shares in
ask, for
publicly
instance,
traded
like, so here's a question. Do you know how Jeff Bezos made his money or how Elon Musk made his money?
I know that Jeff Bezos created Amazon, and I know that Elon Musk has created a ton of things. Tesla, you got Starlink.
Okay, kind of, so not really. Bezos made his money because of the appreciation of shares of Amazon that he had a huge stake in, right? And Elon Musk made a lot of his money. Initially, it was on PayPal and a couple of ventures, and then because he had a huge equity stake in SpaceX and Tesla, especially, that's where they made their money.
Yeah,
Is
he was
ownership
in
of stock of
banking,
publicly traded
financial
companies. That's why I said we can look at those people. We can say we know how they made their money. So
Powers Financial
I don't think Epstein
Corporation.
had massive shares in publicly traded companies, did he?
He had a financial management firm.
So
He acquired New York Magazine.
in Jay Aubrey's recent video on Epstein, he talks about how Epstein had associates that were like prosecuted for fraud, but like he managed to like slip through. So that's probably where it came from.
That's common, though, unfortunately. Like,
Yeah,
you
my
don't need a
dad did that.
conspiracy for that. Oh, he invested in Israel. No way. Well, rest in peace, bitch.
So he wouldn't have made it.
Did you
as an-
actually look into the Epstein case, or are you just, because I can't tell right now if your thing is just to be contrarian?
Okay, hold on.
No, I'm
You're
being
telling me-
serious. No, I'm asking you because it
Yeah.
seems like you're just like, whatever your position is, I'm going to take the opposite and I'm going to say something really quickly and try to say, well, how do we know? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, that's actually quite boring.
Sure,
You know what I
understand.
mean? Like,
So
it's like,
here's-
dude, like,
He's
like
trying
let's
to
actually have a
win
real
by
conversation
talking
because
faster
tons
than
of
him.
stuff is happening right now. A lot of stuff is
can't-
being
well, I can't
exposed,
tell
right?
when,
People are for the
Can-
first time
Candace is
able to
becoming
grasp
catty.
a theory that finally makes sense, right? It finally
You'll be
makes
able
sense.
to tell.
It makes sense that there is a blackmail ring operating in DC because we don't understand why we keep sending our politicians to DC and then it's like they completely serve anybody other than the American people, right? So when that Jeffrey Epstein case got exposed, and if you were following it and reading the
I
documents,
did follow it. I read the entire document, the 80-page report that came out from the government. They did a report on
when you're
the
looking
prison
at
where
the
he
Diddy
supposedly got
thing,
killed
and you're
everything, yeah.
realizing how many artists have stood up and said this exact same
Since
thing was
he has
going
his
on.
chat,
Now you have somebody that has filed something
the
with
screen.
proof
Can you
saying
full
it's going
screen
on,
it since I
and then you just
can't
have like a Destiny being like,
read
"Oh,
it
what if it's
at
not going
this
on? What if it's not?
size?
Okay, well, sure. So here's like a
oh,
super-
maybe WAP is just really just that amazing. People just love talking about vaginas and like mopping the
tried
floor.
to
It's like
max it out
you
in
can
full
do
screen,
that
but-
thing, but
Okay.
it's not interesting. You know what I mean?
Okay, sure. All right.
It's like
Say that again.
Can you full screen this? Since the chat's already in the video screen anyways. Oh yeah, now I can read it. Perfect. Thanks.
It's just an easy test question so I can get my bearings straight. What do you think about the 91 or so indictments for Donald Trump?
What do you mean?
Do you think that those are credible indictments that have credible evidence behind them?
Well, you speak to me specifically about which indictment you're talking
So
about.
the Mar-a-Lago case.
I actually haven't followed that one, so I'm not going to push back on that one, but I can tell you the ones that I have followed, and I've given an answer on.
You don't know about it, Candace?
We've never seen the media or the
can't tell
justice
if you're just
system
being
go
a
after any
contrarian
president
now.
in the way that
That
they
doesn't
have.
matter. You could say the same about P. Diddy. You've never seen the media go after a black artist
I didn't
like
say
this
it did.
besides.
It didn't. I didn't finish my statement. Why are you saying it doesn't matter? Why did you just say that?
I'm just it could be that nobody's ever done something this
But I haven't.
incredible before.
You're so contrarian that you haven't even
I'm
let
not-
me finish.
why do you keep calling me
you
contrarian?
haven't even let me finish my sentence. You said that doesn't matter. It's like what do you?
Because you gave a point that was irrelevant.
I know,
Go
but
ahead.
I don't understand what you're objecting to.
You
asked
said
me a
that you said the
question.
media's never gone after somebody like this before.
You asked me a question. I started to answer it by saying the media has never gone after anyone like this before.
Okay.
And then you just said it doesn't matter. It's like, can I answer the
ahead.
question?
Yeah, allow your full
like, or
answer.
you just gotta
Sorry,
contradict.
this is
right
so
away.
Not
funny that,
contradicting.
like,
I'm just fighting the crazy.
She's mimicking him.
A little bit. Yeah. In like just the craziest, weirdest way.
Imagine like dating her. That'd be like some crazy ass fight.
She did her homework and at least like became aware of Destiny's style. I thought she almost wasn't going to be ready for this, but she's one-upping him.
If my options were date her or nothing, I would become a fucking eunuch.
I'm not gonna lie. I would tap that.
Oh, I would
I would
absolutely. But no, I'm not dating her.
Yeah, no way.
That would be hell.
Narratives that prevent anybody from having a real analysis of any of the things going on. But you can lay out your whole thing about.
All
what
right,
you think
then
about it.
since you know my narrative, even though you asked the question, I wasn't able to answer it.
You can
I'm
answer the
glad
question.
that you defeat the narrative. No, we're good. We're good. I'm not going to
Because
have you
wait.
ask. I'm not going to actually have you ask a question and then cut me off and say that I'm parroting a narrative when I haven't even told you what my opinion was. That's not you being interesting. That's you being obnoxious.
I think that you're trying to avoid answering the question.
By being cut off by you?
I said you can finish it if you want.
You're trying to avoid answering the question. Quite literally, I was trying to answer the question and you cut me off. So we're good on that. We can move on and talk about something other than Trump and his 95 indictments.
I think it's 91 or 92.
It's 91.
Okay, well, what do we talk about that won't get you as triggered?
Okay. I just honestly, like I said to you in the beginning of this, I said I am an open book.
I'm just curious what you think about the Trump indictments. Do you
just-
think that a civil suit that's filed where there isn't a grand jury that looks over it, there's not like it's not like a DA case, it's not like a federal prosecutor. Do you think that the Diddy stuff is like rock solid? Do you think that's really, really, really important to look at? But then when we look at indictments that have gone to grand juries that have then issued warrants or subpoenas or whatever, I was just curious if you think that the credibility on that side is as heavy as the P. Diddy stuff.
I was really happy to answer that question. Would you like me to answer it?
Sure.
So I would say that you are comparing two cases that are not similar, and I'll tell you why they aren't similar. In the case of Diddy, you have somebody that has no power that is filing this and producing evidence to say that the justice, essentially the same thing that people that defend Trump are saying, the justice system is corrupt, right? That these people are responding and being motivated by things like the LAPD's involvement that night in writing a fake police report, if his allegations are true. And he had photos and said that he was the person that said call 911, and then seeing the media report on it and lie about what happened at that studio is very scary. It's scary if unless he faked these blood photos, which is a plausibility, but it shows you that there are people that are sitting at the top that have a ton of power, right? So the people that are acknowledging that and then also saying that those same people, that same network of individuals that can make up allegations and make them go away with the media or stay and make it a big deal because of the media are defending Trump and what's happening to him. So this isn't, they're actually, these two things are not at conflict with one another, what's happening with Diddy and what's happening with Trump. It's actually, they complement one another in terms of what we're saying. Now, the only case, I've followed two of them, the Fannie Willis one.
Well, can I ask a question about the LAPD thing?
Yeah.
So if we're worried because in the P. Diddy case, it looks like the LAPD at the very top might have been involved with something, if that's the claim. I mean, isn't Donald Trump at the very, very, very top if he's the president? Isn't he literally like the top guy in the world?
He doesn't control the courts. And that's, I mean, hold on. The point of exactly being is that if they feel that they have
He
a
doesn't
person
control
that they
the
cannot
Illuminati.
control. So if there is this blackmail ring that exists, and it's starting to look like there is, definitively, and I very much believe that, and I am not ashamed to say that it is pretty much the only thing that makes sense in Hollywood is what I read in these documents, then it would be clear as to why it is that when you are existing outside of the ring, or you are somebody that cannot be controlled, you are somebody that is attacked. Now, again, we have heard many artists, and I like that we have this example in Hollywood, because we don't need to go down the path of Trump derangement. We can actually talk about people that we don't feel any way about, right? Diddy, I don't have an issue with Diddy. You don't have an issue with Diddy. We can look at this case more objectively, because people, I think, do get so about Trump that you can't just look at things objectively. If what that person is alleging...
Wait, do you think that's what happened here?
I mean, you did jump. I'm glad it's live and you can go back and watch it. But like, I didn't get to. You asked me a question, and then before I could answer my question,
slow
you did say,
down
like,
there.
narrative, and I'm like, okay, that feels like the Trump derangement trap. I don't want to do it. I want to have a productive conversation about the plausibility that people that are extremely powerful are blackmailing people, and these people can't talk out.
Feels like the
can't
Trump
speak out because
derangement
whatever they
trap,
have on them
aka
on
don't
camera
talk about my boy,
is
please.
scary. You know, there's Justin Bieber. I think there's also something going on with him. His pastor said, pray for them. There are evil forces that in Hollywood, kind of at the same time as this.
Evil
Cat
force.
Williams, he used to do crack, whatever, has spoken out about this. There's been a lot of artists that have spoken out about this. Kanye West has spoken out about this, about
Potential energy,
the
it's an
control
evil
and the network
force.
that's happening within Hollywood. So I
Momentum,
think instead of
very evil.
I don't know, trying to dismiss these people as crazy or crackheads or whatever it is you want to dismiss them as, when enough people say something, including Michael Jackson, who's dead, maybe there's some truth to it. Like, can we examine whether or not
Actually, no,
this
I
might be
guess the
true,
most
especially
evil
when
force would
somebody
be
is such an
entropy.
underdog like a producer and does something like this?
That's a
I think
good one.
analyzing who's saying what, I think, is important. But I think that when we say that somebody's an underdog, so we're going to believe them because they give a story that we might happen to like or plays into something else that we believe. I mean, I would just be critical of the underlying material. Like, if the sources are a few people, like, everybody stands to gain something when it comes to viral stuff. Everybody knows that. When you have outrageous claims to make, and if he has evidence, I think that's interesting.
Otherwise, I would have said, I don't know, it's frivolous. Like,
Sure,
you can always sue a rich person.
But I'm also saying that, like, a charge is a charge, or a claim is a claim, or a filed case is a filed case. It'll be interesting to see what ends up playing out in court, and then we actually see.
I'm keen to see that. That's what I want to see. I'm not condemning the person. I'm not a person that believes that you. I would hope, and I obviously have lost faith in the court system in some ways, but I would hope that it works the way it's supposed to work, and that it will take more evidence, and that he has to appear in front of people and show us more evidence and show us more video evidence of what's going on. But
So when you
what I will say is that it looks credible.
Okay. When you say that you've lost faith in the court system, does that mean that if a guilty verdict is returned, you'll think it was a good case, but if a non-guilty verdict is returned, are you going to? Oh, okay. Well, why would you preface with, I've lost faith in the court system?
Because I have seen some circumstances in which things that should not happen do happen, and a good example of that, if you want to talk about the craziest case that I followed in a long while, it was the defamation one, where the jury awarded, she was asking for what, 10 million?
I thought she was going to say Hunter Biden.
For 400 or 800 million, just to like bankrupt Trump, and her allegations had expired, but they created a new law in New York so that she could bring them forth about something that she says happened in 1996. What is that whack lady's name? She was so...
Wait, are you talking about when they extended
E. Jean Carroll.
Statute of limitations to allow people to sue people relating to
and then
rape?
she got funded.
What did you say?
The weird thing about... Sorry, go ahead.
What did you say I said?
Oh, I was just saying that E. Jean Carroll was the woman who sued Donald Trump for defamation.
Oh, okay. What were you saying just now?
Oh, I was about to say the first lawsuit. So E. Jean Carroll brought two lawsuits. The first lawsuit she brought was for defamation. She accused Trump of defaming her by when Donald Trump called her a liar, and he denied sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll. So she sued him for calling her a liar. And when she brought the lawsuit, New York passed a statute. It was some type of sexual survivor a statute to give claims to sexual assault survivors. Then, once that law passed, E. Jean Carroll brought a second lawsuit. She requested that the first court, with the first lawsuit, stay proceedings, and pending results of the second proceedings. The second lawsuit found Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her, and after they got that verdict, they went and moved forward with the first lawsuit, and eventually they found him liable for like $83 million. So that is the E. Jean Carroll was the E. Jean Carroll lawsuit was extraordinary. That's not something that happens quite a lot, where a statute gets passed while you already have a pending lawsuit. So it's pretty interesting. Go ahead.
To reopen this, they changed the law, and then she got funded by the person who is I don't want to call him a Democrat operative, but he obviously is very involved in the Democratic Party. The person that started LinkedIn is the one that funded her to do this lawsuit. I mean, the whole thing is the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's just like making new laws.
I thought this law was changed in New York a while ago.
No,
I don't think
it wasn't.
It was specifically for Trump.
No, it wasn't. Nope. It was specifically after she went on and was doing the rounds on and those were wacky when she was like, I don't even know. When he was like, what is rape? Anderson Cooper asked her, and she was like, I think most people think rape is sexy.
Wait, what?
It's not someone jumping on you and da-da-da-da. You know, it'd be great for this if you could bring up clips like that, because it would be awesome for people to be able to watch it. But she was so clearly clinically insane. She was so insane that even Anderson Cooper had to go to commercial. MSNBC had to go to commercial. So this is not a woman, that was making what any person who can listen to somebody interview about their rape would say are credible allegations. But there was just such hatred for Trump that they just made it happen. And in no circumstance, I can't imagine what circumstances like asked for like $10 million, and the judge is like, no, you're going to give you $400 million. Other than we hate Trump so much and we hope to bankrupt him.
Was this a jury trial?
There were multiple parts of this lawsuit, but it was.
Because if it went to trial and if it was a jury, then
it was jury trial. Yes.
Does anybody have a link to that rape clip? I'm curious if anybody has. I've heard.
I'm just kidding.
It's rape.
I'm just kidding. I love you, Tom.
It's so nutty and so crazy. And they just kept going with it everywhere she went, left and right. People could not hold a conversation with her. She was so unstable, and she couldn't even define what rape was. She was just saying, I think rape is just like, when someone thinks you're sexy. So it's like, so did Trump just think you were sexy? She had no witness. I mean, I've just never seen anybody able to get for or however many millions of dollars she got with absolutely not a shred of proof in a case that shouldn't have even have been brought forward according to your own statute of limitations.
Also, people are saying that the $400 million that's for the business fraud case. Maybe the
I'm mixing numbers. What was how much was she awarded for you guys that are like checking? She was awarded. They gave her more than she even asked for. Yeah, they literally extended the law. The whole thing was so rotten to its core. That makes you lose faith, right? That makes you lose faith in the justice system. That's not saying that there aren't cases. There are different judges. There are different juries. With Trump, it's hard because people are passionate about him one way or the other. So it's going to be hard not to find a jury that is corrupt, especially when you are in New York. But I don't see how any person can objectively look at what happened there.
Wait, what does that
mean? She's so poisoning
jury?
The well here.
Like emotionally corrupted, because when it comes to Trump, people tend to feel either I love him so much or I absolutely hate him and he's the end of the world. So I think it's hard to get a jury that, is going to be fair in that circumstance because he's so...
He's also, like, they're a jury of his peers.
The venue is?
I want to say LA. I want to say LA.
He's pretty obviously obnoxious.
Misinformation.
I'm only asking because I see a couple people. Oh, so for this it says Rodney, Lil Rod Jones.
Oh, New York. Producer. That's right. It is in New York. Wait, that is correct.
Does that mean that the opening up of the statute of limitations for the Trump suit is the same thing that's allowing this court case to go through then?
No. You got to look at what he's suing them for. This all happened recently. The Trump thing happened in '96. Just so we're clear, this happened in 2022, 21.
All of the allegations are recent.
Yeah, it just happened. He was working on an album that he dropped like last year or something. It's not from 1996.
Oh, okay. I thought the way you were talking, I thought these were earlier allegations.
No. This all just happened, and he obtained a ton of proof because of it.
Gotcha. Have you reached out to this guy to try to have a conversation with him or anything?
No. I would hope that would be... I would imagine. I mean, I don't know if he would be able to while you're. I don't know while you're in court. I'm sure his lawyer would say don't speak until things are done. And my guess is that because of the powerful names that are listed in this lawsuit, they're going to want to just settle it and be done with it. But the photos that are pictured there, it's going to be very hard, I think, to come back from it without some sort of an explanation. I mean, he named names.
Well, I think the problem, my imagination would be, the problem is that even if the photos show sexual acts or whatever, the difficult part is going to be proving that these were part of a conspiracy to blackmail or something like that, right? Because just photos of people having sex or doing whatever stuff isn't probably enough unless you've got like text messages showing some pattern of.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I guess what you're saying is that people could then say, okay, well, they're all having sex, but they're doing it willingly. But what he's alleging is that Diddy's team gets these people drunk and high and drugged and then brings in women that they know are minors. This is one part of his allegations. And then these people have sex with them, or they have
Jesus
gay
fucking
relations
Christ.
and like everyone's doing it, and then they do something that's like gay while they're high, and then he owns them because he has this stuff that's on cameras. Now explaining, yeah, could you
I love that she talks about like
technically, even after it's all exposed, say like, oh, well,
fucking
maybe they want
horrible
to go
abuse, and
in.
then
Sure,
compares
you
it
could
to being
always-
gay.
Sure, well, I mean, the
Yeah.
burden would be on him to prove at least.
which is why I
And this is
really
like-
want this to go through, because there's
She
just
just
been a lot
described
of
something
artists who have
that,
said this over the years.
like, no
that
adult
there's like some sort of
should
gang that's
believe
operating
is
in
real.
Hollywood,
Like,
and
that
I would
just
just
doesn't
like to see
seem
these
realistic.
allegations play out, you know. And I
They
think
just
everyone should want
start
that, by the
doing
way.
stuff to minors.
What do you think
Okay.
on a broad
Gay
level?
Diddy.
Yeah. Okay, so you keep calling me contrarian. On a broad level, the reason why I tend to fight back against the overarching narratives is because I feel like they leave listeners feeling very powerless. So when I talk to my audience, I want people to vote. I want people to be politically active. I want people to, take an interest in their local city council stuff, their local races, because I think that people getting involved politically, especially voting, is a really important way to change the landscape of our country on a local level or on a national level.
I agree.
I also think that people talking to their friends and family and spreading ideas and messages, I think these things are important as well. But I think that the reason why I push back sometimes against the broader, when I say narrative, by the way, I don't necessarily mean that it's like conspiracy theory or whatever, but the reason why I push back against like the more broader narrativizing of things happening culturally is because I feel like it leaves listeners feeling very disempowered. I remember when I was in Austin and I asked Alex Jones on stage after he'd done another one of his big rants about the deep state and blah, blah, blah. I think I asked him, I was like, well, what do you want your listeners to do? And it was the first time I ever heard him be quiet for more than 5 seconds because he had no answer. So I'm curious for you, when you talk about
That's
this
true, I
overarching
remember
stuff and you
that.
bring people's attention to it, what is like
He wants
Candace
them to
Owens'
buy his
listener
very
supposed to
expensive
take from that? What are
supplement.
they supposed to do in the real world, I guess, to like fight against some of the
Yeah,
stuff?
I mean, I always tell people. what
Yeah,
they
maybe
should
the
do.
whole time
one
he
of
was
the
just
biggest
like, don't
pushes
say the
is telling
supplements,
parents
don't
that
say the
they should be
supplements.
involved in their kids' education, and you saw that.
Honestly,
That was conservative.
not a
who
bad
birthed that
scam.
movement of parents actually showing up and demanding changes. In
That
the
shit is
textbooks,
expensive.
And finally recognizing how far things had gone because we allowed the Department of Education to just spike the ball for decades. Actually paying attention to what they do. I always tell people to get involved in local elections because they matter more. And I think that a lot of the corruption that's taking place in Washington D.C.
Have you,
is
Candace?
what we're speaking about, because it seems like no matter who we elect, when we send them to Washington D.C., it's almost like their allegiance is to the lobbies. And by the way, I believe that lobbying should be illegal. I believe that we need term limits. These are the things that would, I think, affect change overnight. And so I hope that in speaking to those things, when people say, what would be the first things that you would do if you were in office? I always say, elect people that are saying those exact same things. Don't elect people that are then going to go to DC and make it their own business, and want to grow the government because it's making them money. And they're
I can think
accepting
of
money from
somewhere
lobbyists.
Candace doesn't
That's why I
want
always
term
point to
limits.
My favorite Congressman, Thomas
Right now, at
Massey,
least.
because I think he does a
you
really
gonna
good
mention the
job
Supreme
of
Court?
actually
Oh, yeah.
representing Americans and American interests. So, yeah, I'm not a person. I haven't taken the black pill as how it's termed, taking the black pill, and I'm like, there's nothing you can do. But we have to understand what it is that we're fighting, and we can't be scared to recognize a conspiracy. A lot of times we're just talking, there's questions that we have, and we just say, why is this person doing this? Like I said, the Diddy lawsuit didn't make me feel hopeless. It actually made me go, oh, okay, if this is what's actually happening in Hollywood, then it makes sense.
What do you think for when you look at black community stuff specifically? What would you think are the big like 2 or 3 things that the black community in the United States needs to do to kind of save itself from
Yeah.
the whole of fatherless children and welfare
Evil
and
force
and everything else that they're kind of stuck in right now.
Well, the first thing I think is to educate yourself about where it's all coming from. I think Black Americans need to be educated on Black history, not in the Democrat textbook way, but in the real way of understanding where all these initiatives came from, because a lot of times Black Americans are asking the government to solve what the government created, which welfare programs obviously destroyed the Black family, and it was the intention of Lyndon Baines Johnson to do that because he was
it wasn't
racist
like
and spent decades
the drug
in the
war?
Senate voting against every measure to give Black Americans any measure of freedom until he was basically
just
forced
just
with a
cultural
figurative bullet to
decay.
his head to sign the Civil Rights Act to restore some calm nationally. So I think, first of all, everything begins with education, and I think that people that are nefarious understand that, which is why the 70% illiteracy rate that we're seeing.
I'm sorry if this is
communities
accidentally offensive.
is
Do you guys
in
think
my
that she's
opinion,
like
by design.
transracial?
40% of students now
Like
can't pass the
secretly?
literacy exam, excluding Black America.
When we say by design, who would want that?
People that want to control you. There's a reason why when we had slave codes,
Just a tad.
slaves weren't allowed to learn how to read. When you're not educated, anything I tell you becomes your reality.
comment.
If
I can
Might
understand
be-
that, but slaves worked and did stuff, right?
Yeah,
I feel
so do the American.
yeah, she
so do Americans. Every
transitioned
day we
from
go
an
to work
alien
and our money gets
into a
sent
black-
Well, but
overseas.
but they have to be literate to go to work, right? I feel like illiterate Black people that are doing gang violence probably aren't serving any system very well now.
You are, because you keep
I
voting in the
transitioned
people that are
into
taking
your
more
mom
power from
last
you.
night.
Do you
Right,
think
so
those people are voting much? The
How's it
Black
like
gangbangers and
pulling
stuff?
ashes
I
out
think,
of your
yes, Black
urethra?
people do vote, and it's not
Wait,
just.
hold on,
and
wait, hold on. To be very clear, I
Very
don't say Black
dry
people,
and
because I don't think that
uncomfortable.
all Black people are
Based.
like this. I'm saying that specifically the ones that are illiterate, involved in gang violence, and are unemployed. Do you think that they're out there voting in a meaningful way that's changing the political landscape of the United
Has
States? and
Candace
having a
Owens ever
meaningful
done the,
impact on the
like,
electoral system?
Yeah, so even if people are fully illiterate,
percentage
they will
meme?
vote if they have an emotional reason to vote, which is what the Democrats very much understand. I want
Oh,
to
yeah,
actually want to
the
pass my language there and say, because I think
1530 or
uniparty
whatever.
at this point, that they will continue.
I can
to
never
vote
remember. I'm
emotionally. So
shit
when
with
you see
numbers.
something like, Black people
Yeah, yeah.
rioting and looting in the streets.
She was one of the
because
main
what happened
ones
to George
who used
Floyd.
that.
What you are dealing with is people that are being intentionally misinformed about circumstances so that they are emotionally reactive. Because look, I have children. I have a 3-year-old. I know what it means to be ignorant. My child can't read. He is emotionally reactive. And if you can turn an entire population
Well, yeah,
into
he's
an
3.
emotionally reactive toddler that has no facts or no understanding of history, you can make them do whatever it is that you want them to do. So
I guess it's interesting.
Are
because it feels like
she's
most,
saying
you
Black
would say the
people
most
are toddlers?
mind-controlled people in America are actually
No,
young,
she's saying
college
that.
kids.
Okay,
And those guys
so
have lots of
I
literacy
wanted
and
to
lots of
respond
education,
before,
So I don't know why
but-
we wouldn't send Black people.
Like she
into,
said that
college
people are
entry levels instead of-
hijacking
Actually,
the
no.
education
But
system
that's actually interesting.
because
I'm
like
glad
they're
you brought up college,
nefarious
because
and want
if
to
you
corrupt
look
minds.
Factually speaking,
Even though-
Americans are getting
Cankle,
dumber
can
and
you
dumber
pause
and
it,
dumber and dumber,
please?
and yet we have never.
Thanks. So even though we know that the answer to this is public education and not private education if you're really worried about that, and especially not homeschooling. So it's especially funny that she is the one who wants conservatives to homeschool their children.
I totally forgot what I was about to fucking say. God damn it.
We're handed out more degrees, which is interesting. Like, I
What do you
mean,
mean when you
like,
say
think
Americans are getting dumber? What do you
homeschooling
mean?
is
what I mean,
creepy.
talking about in terms of passing tests, passing exams, the literacy level in America, everything is actually going down, and SAT scores, everything is going
Unless
down.
it's like a
And which is
medical
why they're
need
now
or
like, let's
something.
just abolish the SAT. This sort of a thing that they're
Sure,
that
which
some
I think
people are
they've
saying,
gotten
which
rid
is-
of and
which
brought
is-
back in some places.
yeah.
But I don't
But
know
my
if the same
point-
people
no,
getting illiterate
no,
are
no.
the same people that are going to college or getting degrees.
Yeah, we're handing out degrees, and yet people think they're educated when actually they're just brainwashed bots. and
Who's
they're quite
handing out
stupid.
degrees?
They are stupid, and that's the magic of a college degree, is that it makes people think that they're smart, right? And it's astonishing. You really should examine that.
Yes, Candace,
how
you're the
every
real
decade
genius in the
within
room.
America. People are getting dumber and dumber. and
Nobody's
dumber.
ever smarter than
and
you.
one of the things that my colleague Matt Walsh did, which is really incredible, is he read a letter that was written by a civil rights soldier who's 17 years old or 18 years old, had no education, and it sounded like poetry, unbelievable.
Oh,
the way
okay.
People used to be able to speak and write before we created the Department of Education, which
They also
in my
weren't
view,
taught
is there just
science.
to exist to turn you into a mindless bot that will serve the government's interests.
I mean, we can say that, but the reality is aside from the cultural thing, on the economic side, America has like one of the most productive workforces, maybe the most productive workforce in the world.
When you say productive workforce, what do you mean by that?
Productive in an economic sense is how many like units of things are produced by 1 hour of labor from a U.S. worker. And I'm pretty sure U.S. worker productivity.
What else would you mean by that?
I think that continues to climb. It's one of the biggest complaints
Especially
about
when you look at
lack
the
of
United
increase
States
of wage growth, for
GDP.
instance, is
We're
that
like
wage
the
growth doesn't
highest
seem
in
to
the
attract to the massive increase of productivity of the average American worker or the median American worker. I just think that like if you wanted to control, it just seems strange that we've got two completely and totally diametrically opposed ways of controlling society. One is to make black people specifically, I guess, illiterate so that they are easier to manipulate, even though I seriously doubt these people even vote that much. And then the other is to make people the most literate by sending them to college and have them read
They're not the
esoteric-
most literate. That's what I'm telling you. They are not the most literate.
You think people that graduate with college degrees can't read well?
Yeah, what I'm telling you is yes. That's what I'm telling you.
Gotta
They're not
pick
the most
one,
literate.
Candace.
What would I look up
We
to
are not-
verify
we
that
are-
if I wanted to see like
you got to do the research in your
I
own
have
time.
done the research
Like,
in my own
I'm
time.
happy
That's
to.
just not true.
What do you mean it's not true?
just
what
what I
do you mean?
said. As
Just
an people,
because
as
you
an owner of a college degree, median wage
that
conferring
doesn't
to that
mean just
person is
because
that
you
like
own you can go to college for 4 years and spend $100,000 getting a degree in gender studies.
What? No one's
Please do
spending
not tell me that you believe that
$100,000 in
person is
college.
educated
First of all,
or
hold on, wait.
highly literate.
Well,
Like,
first, more
it's
than
just-
half the degrees awarded are awarded for STEM-related things. Number one. Number two, $100,000 is a way over the average we're paying for any degree.
Well, that's what I paid.
And number,
So I'm just.
what did you go to school for?
Transgender
The average,
studies.
and as far as I'm concerned, you can look this up. But if you are going to school, you're probably spending in America about $30,000 a year, minimally, if you're out of state.
Isn't the average amount
Just
of
look it up. You got Google, right? Like,
isn't
what
the-
state are we in?
isn't the
what state are we in?
median-
Miami. Let's go to look up University of Florida. Pardon. What state are we in? Florida.
yeah.
Go to University of Florida out of tuition rates.
I
Because what do you
feel
mean?
like
$100,000 sounds
Candace
about right.
may have
Yeah,
had
but
to
we're looking
retake.
at one. This is for
$28,659 out of state. $30,000.
Yep. So one, this is the out-of-state tuition.
Yes, that's what I
Number
just said.
two, hold on. This is the sticker price. Nobody pays this for school. You've got Pell Grants. You've got different types of student aids. You've got tons of different scholarship initiatives. Very, 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 very few people
So
actually pay.
I'm
any of
right,
this
but you're
price.
trying to make me wrong.
Well,
So
no, no, hold
I
on,
paid
wait,
that
you're right.
price.
No, no, what I'm
I
saying
paid that
is-
price, so
It's
I paid back my
subsidized.
loan. So you're not going to convince.
No time.
We all know what subsidization is, right? And I'm like, I might be Canadian, but I'm not incorrect by saying like it is subsidized by what Destiny's saying. Like there is a portion of the tuition that's covered by the government.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that so hard for her to understand?
Because she's retarded.
Use a better word.
Extremely brain dead.
Extremely clueless?
No, brain dead.
I don't understand.
She suffers from death in the brain.
Mm.
Her body is just working without it. It's just completely dead up there. It's like a fucking
Oh,
rotted limb.
mindless.
Got
It's mindless.
She
Okay,
has like
cool.
necrosis of the brain
Good talk.
based.
It's me that very few people are paying this. My sisters paid that price and they paid back. So you're just saying like
What? She has what syndrome?
I said Hitler particle syndrome.
And yes, my school was more expensive. It was, I think, $35,000. There you go. The average $29,000.
So if we look at
you can just
the
say
average,
you were right,
sure.
Candace.
So 51%.
And you're not going to get hurt.
Yeah, so 51% of bachelor's
You're
degrees
not gonna get
graduates with
hurt.
an average of $29,400 in student loan debt, right? So that's only 51% of people, I guess, that acquired debt, and then their average debt is about $29,400.
Are you?
Not
Are you?
100,000.
I don't get what the point is of you doing this.
The point
Are
I'm saying
you trying to
is that-
say?
The point I'm saying is that one, the sticker price for an out-of-state
100,000
tuition
makes
school
more
is not what I would
sense
use
for,
as the
like,
median price you need to pay for a 4-year degree. Number one.
if you
Number
took, like,
two, very
8
few people
years
actually
to
pay.
We didn't talk about that because I
master's
said this is the
degrees,
median
maybe.
price.
Or,
I
like-
said it is
Sounds like
utterly
med school.
absurd that
Yeah,
people
for,
are
like, med
spending
school.
$100,000 to come out with a
Or
degree.
2
We weren't
PhDs.
talking
You
about. We weren't
said for a
debating the
degree in gender
median
studies.
price.
Sure, but number
You
one,
just-
you're going for out of state. If I'm in state,
Yes,
my
I-
tuition is $6,400. I'm
I
getting a
literally said out of state. I actually said out of state.
Yeah, but why do I care about that number?
I don't get where you're going. The
Hold
point
on,
of
wait,
when we started this
the
conversation, I
very
was just
specific-
saying that there are individuals that are going to school that are spending $100,000, right?
I don't know what
for
that
a
has to do with
degree in
anything.
gender studies
Yeah,
if
but
you're
we're
going-
talking about, I'm sure, and I could probably find people with $1 million student loan debt. They got an even dumber degree than gender studies and basketball or whatever. But in general, that's not the cost of a college degree. And in general, college degrees confer huge wage premiums onto the people that earn them. These are like,
No, they don't, and that is the reason why you have so many young women that are. And this is why, I think that what you actually do here is
So many
harmful.
young
And I'm
women
gonna tell you.
that are
Okay,
No, I'm
hold
gonna.
on.
No, I'm
Wait,
gonna.
let me finish my thing real quick.
Explain.
Hold
Let
on.
me
I'm sorry,
explain.
because I've done a lot of research on college degrees, been a lot of research
No.
on education, and every single thing that you're saying sounds really good on like a culture war perspective.
It's
But
not
when
a
you look at an
culture
actual
war.
economic perspective, when you look at actual firms that hire people, and when you look at the actual median wages compared to people that even have some college
Biggest
education,
regret-
all
biggest
of
regret
it,
is me going to
all
school.
of it, that's great for you, but for the average American, that's just not true. None of these numbers are found on average. You will never find data that supports the idea that high school earners on average are out-earning college degree earners, or that 90% of people are going to
Go
school
to
for
trade
basket
school.
weaving.
Do not listen
Why
to
would you
him.
go to
Please
trade
learn
school?
a
Trade
real-
school,
learn a
trades
real
on average.
craft.
Why would you go to trade school?
Please go to trade school. Please do not end up. And I talk about this on stage the whole time. And I'm on the university. I
learning
did 2
engineering
universities
not
this
a
year.
real craft?
Please, if you do not know what you want to do not go spend a ton of
No.
money putting yourself in
The
debt
only real craft
to
is,
go
like,
into society already having debts that you need to pay
plumbing
off to make $25,000 a year in a career path that you didn't even
Whatever
know that you
else.
wanted
Those
to
are my
take.
Zoomer
Because you're
audience.
Make
listening
The only real
25,000
craft
a
is
year.
Destiny.
Minecraft,
and by
yo.
the way, I am. Thank you for saying she's right, Destiny. I am so
him.
right. Please go to trade school and don't listen to this and listen to me because I bought into this rhetoric
Sorry, Kelton.
because I was in high school.
No,
and
it's all good.
it's gonna be great. You're gonna go and you're gonna take a blah blah blah. And then when you get out in the real world, it's gonna be great. You're gonna have better positions. And you're gonna make more money. It is a lie.
What did you go to school for?
That I don't
I
care
have
what
a funny
website he
Minecraft
is
story
looking
if you
on,
wanna pause
to
it.
tell you that
It's
is
not
a
very
lie.
long.
The overwhelming.
So I used to play this political Minecraft server, and we all had like different factions based on like socialism, and some people were like fascist and like liberal democracies or whatever. There was this really weird racist kid, and like a couple years after the server like stopped, he like got arrested for killing his Nazi roommates because they didn't respect his Islamic faith. I'm not kidding.
Damn.
I'll find the article, but all met through Minecraft server.
Like literally in Minecraft.
He called me gamer words.
But he did it in Minecraft.
True.
It's like comedy. Everything's okay now. Who's duck emoting? I'll kill you. I'm just kidding.
I
Only
love
in
the duck
Minecraft.
emote.
Just if I ever give you the turtle emoji, run.
What does that mean?
I'm gay.
Oh, only the turtle knows.
That's
The
gay.
majority of people, I'm so glad people in the chat are saying that I am
Did
right
you just
because
call the
overwhelming amount of
turtle
people
gay?
are shocked when the real world then smacks them in the face.
Oh, yeah.
And that lie, that dream that
Well-
was sold to you by your guidance counselors in high school, that's going to be
Hopefully
so
the
great, you're going to be
turtle
able to make
doesn't
more money,
appear.
and you just start to realize that it is absolutely crap. And
What
I
did you go to-
really would like to say, do not disrespect people that go to trade school because I
Who's
just got that
I'm
was
not
just
disrespecting anybody that goes to
so,
trade school. What are you talking
like,
about?
It's just like you
Wait,
were
why
like,
are we virtue
did you-
signaling on this?
because
You shouldn't go to
no,
trade
no,
school
no,
because
no.
if you go to college, you make
should-
more money.
That's not true. It's just not true.
What do you mean it's not true?
That's not true. You can like quite literally, you can be the person that goes to trade school and you will make so much money doing jobs that actually bring value to society.
Computer
People that
programmers
are
don't bring value to the society.
people that are-
Mechanical engineers don't bring value to society.
I am not.
People that-
If you want to be a mechanical engineer, yes. But if you know what you want to do and you know you want to be a chemical engineer, I'm not saying nobody should go to college. I'm saying too many people are going to college. They are putting themselves in debt for things that they don't even know what they want to do, and they get out into the world and they can't make any money, and it is a struggle. And they are suffering. I'm watching these girls. I know that people on the right like to mock these girls who are crying on TikTok, who are saying like, you know, I got to college and here's how no money that I can make. I didn't know this. I actually feel bad for those girls because we have to just stop lying to people about what college is. It's been inflated.
When you look at like black community
the worth
stuff,
of it.
isn't in the black community, isn't one of the reasons why women are starting to out earn black men is because they're going to school and they're going to college and they're actually getting degrees and they're getting real careers? Isn't that one of the biggest contributing factors for
I don't know that.
Okay.
Of course she does.
Okay. Final question.
I think, by the
You
way,
got a-
I think
yeah.
women, by the way, all across the board are graduating at higher rates than men.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to say, because I do want to make a point about what you do. Because I did see that you did
Okay.
you did a video and you were like taking
By the way,
side
Cutie,
of
I'm not
Hose.
reading
Like, you
chat.
saw
I haven't
this
looked at it
Candace
once.
sitting down with Hose
I
on
never
the
read
whatever
chat.
podcast, and you did.
You were
Unless
being
it's
so
my
rude
chat.
to that lady
No.
that made the TikTok. Oh my god.
Okay. But the point is that you then went through.
You called her a bitch.
You then went through this video and
How
just
dare
tried
you,
to
Kat.
justify these lifestyles, right?
I don't think I was trying to justify the
You
lifestyle.
were.
What I was doing
You
is I was
were.
fighting it back against the insane judgment from one side to
You
the other.
were.
We live in America. People should be able to live the lifestyles they
See,
want.
and
as long as
that-
they're not harming other people, I think everybody has the
Listen,
right to pursue
and
that.
I just want to say to people that are watching this, to anybody that you follow, literally, you should take measure and
Fucking Taurus
really ask
joke.
yourself whether or
That's
not that person
terrible.
is telling you that stuff because they believe
so
it,
funny.
or whether or not that person is telling you something that ultimately it feels good because then it means that you can remove yourself from responsibility. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's fine. I can be a hoe, whatever, but is going to lead you to misery, right? And so I
She's
tell
very
people,
woman
I've seen a
focused.
lot. I've been through a lot. I've lived through a lot. Very proud of myself where I've ended up, and I'm trying to provide people the shortcuts.
She just
and I'm
sucks at
trying to tell you that
feminism.
yes, I understand that as a young woman, if you jump onto OnlyFans, you can make money. And you can make money very quickly. But I am also telling you that if you do that, you will, the overwhelming majority of people,
Can you?
mind an exception, sure, will regret that sort of a lifestyle. And,
I think I'd probably agree with you.
to these young people
Yep.
that are listening to you doing the like, YOLO, if it makes you happy, don't. I am telling you, throw
Destiny's
this
being
out.
weak
It
as
is
fuck right
trash.
now.
Like,
I agree. You shouldn't do
absolutely
OnlyFans as a
not-
young
You should not
person.
be aspiring to
You shouldn't do OnlyFans as a young
open
person.
relationships.
You should go to
being
college
a
and get a degree
prostitute,
instead.
Somebody that's just holding up a mirror to tell you that you're great and you're doing amazing. Like
I
you
interject?
don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not great. You can do better, right? Your life is worth more. There
Go to
are
college,
rules
get
that
a degree.
work.
Ankles are useless.
College is
Do your
every
stuff.
single person that I went to school with is not using the degrees that they paid for.
What did you go to
What
college
they
for?
actually, What did journalism?
Isn't that what you're doing right now?
What do you mean?
Like journalism stuff?
You probably don't know my backstory. So because my family was poor,
Oh,
I had to take
God.
out loans to go to school. My mom didn't even graduate high school. So
Wait, why? If your family's poor, why would you have to take out loans to go to school?
what? I just told you.
If your family's poor, why would you have to take out loans to go to school?
Why would I have to take out loans to go to? What do you mean? I have to take out loans my family can't afford to pay to put me through school.
Hold on. Was your family actually poor, or did you just lie?
What are you talking about?
If you go to school and your family has a low gross income, you fill out the FAFSA. And the FAFSA is going to award you a ton of federal aid, assuming that you don't actually have the gross income from your parents to actually go to school. So if your parents are super poor, I don't know why you had to pay full out-of-state tuition to go to a university.
I did. Do you think? What do you mean? Did I lie?
I don't know how if your parents are poor, if they have a low
Listen,
gross income,
here-
how do you not qualify for the FAFSA?
Okay, well, all I can say to you is that I had to pay 35.
Well, you have to
almost-
pay
My
FAFSA
school
back.
cost more, and by the
Yeah,
end of it, and
that's-
I'm also
I'm a
including
little
because
confused on
then
this
I
part.
defaulted on my student loans and I had to pay it back. So now I had to pay back the bank for not being able to pay them on time.
You can just
this
take
doesn't-
out
something
loans
doesn't-
that don't have
Okay,
interest.
well, I'm telling you the truth, so I don't know what to say.
Did you fill out a FAFSA?
Yeah,
Oh
well,
my
I
God.
also didn't have
Candace
parents that
is
could
never
help me
gonna
fill it
shut
out. I was
up
a
about
first
this
generation
part.
college student. My dad.
You didn't have a school, the same school counselor you told these people to ignore. You didn't talk to one of them and say, "Hey, can you
I
help me
don't
fill
know,
out?"
like if you're trying to shame me for not
I'm
doing
not trying
things
to
right,
shame you. I'm
but,
just saying the background
I
doesn't
don't
make any
get it.
sense. I'm not shaming anything.
I don't get your point here. Like I'm telling you the truth. I have no reason to lie about
My
this.
point is, you complained
asked
about having
me, are you
$100,000
lying
in
about
debt. You
being
told these
poor?
people not to talk to counselors, and you said that your
Yes,
family was
because I
poor, so you went to
lived
school
it.
for
I'm
journalism on
telling
an
you.
out-of-state tuition. You didn't fill out a FAFSA for any student aid.
Dude,
There's a ton of money there.
I'm just saying, like, what is your point in saying, am I lying about it? Like,
Because
what is,
I don't
like,
understand how you came from a poor family and didn't fill out a FAFSA and get a ton of student aid.
I did fill out FAFSA.
And they didn't give you anything?
I maybe got in terms of I remember getting a Pell Grant that was like $8,000.
Okay. Per
But
year?
I'm telling the truth. So I just want to be clear. I'm telling the truth about my life. Like, I don't know what to say to you. And I don't get what was your question of saying, like, why did you take out a loan if you were poor? I don't understand that question. Like, I don't get it.
Because the implication is that if you filled out a FAFSA, your parents' gross income is used to heavily determine the amount of student aid that you qualify for. And if you're coming from an incredibly poor family, you usually get a ton
Well,
of
that's
student
not what
aid.
happened. Maybe that's circumstance. And please, guys, jump in the chat. Like, if somebody said Destiny, that's stupid. I don't think they just give you free
No,
college if
Destiny's
you're
wrong
poor.
on
That's
that.
not my experience. Did you go to university? Did you get free money?
I did, and I got some free money, but I had to get married for it because my parents had a high gross income but a lot of debt, so I didn't qualify
Okay,
for
well,
the FAFSA. So I had to get married at 19.
I paid back my student loans all by myself. So I could tell you that I spent over 6 figures paying back my student loans to attend the University of Rhode Island. And that is the truth. I mean, and no, I am not lying. My family
Although
does
she's a
not have any
dumbass
money.
for going out of state.
My parents don't own anything. We don't even have a house. Like, we don't even own, obviously, I don't mean like we're homeless. I meant like, as in like my family didn't even own property. So it's like, no, I'm not lying about that. So I don't know what rabbit we were chasing there.
Isn't the issue here then, why would you go, also, I understand if you have to leave at any time, because he said you had a hard out at 3 and we're at 3:06, so.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you would go to an out-of-state school for a journalism degree and then turn around and blame colleges for being bad when it feels like.
I'm not blaming colleges for being bad. I am telling people the truth so that they can avoid making some of the mistakes.
Which is, don't go to an out-of-state school for a degree that might not confer a high amount of money?
I probably should have. Yes, I'm sorry that I was, 17 years old and I didn't have parents that were able to provide the economic advising, of course, that would have been smarter. And my sister, 2 of my sisters went in state, but they still had really heavy loans. So I don't know about this FAFSA magic thing that you think happens. Then my sister paid about $20,000 a year.
Yeah, Neve, she's at Destiny's
when
house.
she went in state. So I just don't know what you're talking about at all with that, because all of my sisters, we all had to pay loans. My older sister just finished off paying her loan. So I don't know. I just don't know what you're talking about, the FAFSA magic button. Maybe if I missed the FAFSA magic button and they were going to pay for everything, then maybe I am just really stupid and I had no idea that they would just pay for everything.
I'll be honest, maybe it's like a
not...
difference in like areas or people that we talk to, maybe because the high school I went to was like very oriented and trying to get you to college. But when I was going to college, like I think FAFSA stuff was like the most important thing, like student aid.
But
I did
fill it out. I don't know if it's because my family had multiple children and we were all going to, I don't know what the circumstance is, but I'm just telling you that the truth is that I paid for my college. And I do try to tell people that if you don't know what you want to do, spending tens of thousands of dollars trying to figure that out is probably not the right move. Like you can always go to college, you can go later, try to figure out what you're good at, get an internship. I hire people that are right out of high school because I don't just believe this. Like, there was a young woman that now works for me who was like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I kind of just want to be a mom. I was like, do not spend. And her out of tuition rate was $50,000 for a Tennessee school.
Okay.
And so I hired her. I mean, I'm not telling people, like I said, I tell people how I actually live and what I actually believe. And I don't know that you do that. Don't justify women acting like whores.
Well, I don't justify trying to prescribe lifestyles to people.
What?
Don't justify trying to prescribe lifestyles to people.
It's not prescribing a lifestyle.
Of course
it's just,
it is. When somebody said that they would be happy not having kids, you were like, oh, she sounds like a conceited bitch or something.
That's not what she said.
That was that was the TikTok clip you were responding to.
That was not what she said, and I can tell you exactly what she said.
For not having
I said there was absolutely no reason to make a comment that suggests that she was actually being insulting to people that had kids. It wasn't just one video. She makes multiple videos about how great life is if you don't have kids. If I was making videos with my kids saying about how great life is if you just, stop being a loser and get married, people would come after you because people hate the traditional lifestyle on display.
Wait, but that's literally what you guys say. Get married, have kids. That's the only way to go. Otherwise, you're a loser.
No, we do not. That is, you're just
Candace, you're proof of the opposite.
Okay, so then maybe that's not the case. So wait, so if somebody said, if there was a young woman and she was like, I'm 20, I think I'm going to go to a career and be whatever. I don't think I want to have a family. I don't think life's for me. You would say, okay, well, that's fine. You should make that choice.
No, I would say that's completely normal at 20 years old. That's
wait. So then they should change their opinion later on. What if she was 25 or 30 and she's like, no, I don't think I want to have kids? Would you be okay? That's fine.
If she was a 20-year-old person and she was saying that I don't think that I want to have kids, then what I would say is that's pretty typical because you're 20 years old and you haven't yet had the biology thing happen to you, which like when they say that your biological clock starts ticking, it's very real. When you get into your mid-20s, you have a totally different feeling.
So if a woman is 25 or 30 and says, I don't think I want to have kids, I think I like my career, I'm going to stick with it, you'd say, okay, that's fine. It's your choice.
Yeah, as long as that person isn't trying to, and by the way, I think that person would probably be, it would be unusual. Like it wouldn't be, the majority of women I think do want to have families and want to aspire to family, and that's fine. But when you try to create a brand of it and you say things like, oh, well, if you have kids, then you can't just smoke pot.
In your 30s, your ovaries go off like egg timers.
Seth Rogen just said.
Okay.
What you're doing
Sounds
there is
awesome.
you're actually trying to, you're 30, how old are you? You're 35 years old.
Candace really loves the chewing
so
gum
what is that? What do you
women feel?
What do I do?
Like if you were 20
well,
and you were saying this stuff,
I travel the world, I get to research, talk about whatever I want, I get to
yeah.
talk with people like you and other people, I live in Miami in a high rise for 5,000 a month. I mean, I think my life is pretty okay. I mean, what do you...
But I'm saying like, what are you doing when you're trying to sell to people that, being a hoe is cool, smoking pot, saying
I don't necessarily think that being a hoe is cool.
Are you going to age out of that?
Smoking pot is cool.
You're a 35-year-old man, right? And you're kind of doing the like, I'm a college dorm kid and I'm trying to make everything sound cool. But I just want to point out that you're a 35-year-old man and your words should matter and they should have weight. Like I said, if you were 20, I'd be like,
he does have college dorm kid energy.
Say things with conviction. Say things that have meaning.
And like when I asked you, what would you recommend to a woman at 25 and 30? I didn't just start rambling about what a 20-year-old should do and how biologically blah 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 blah, I would say exactly what I would tell a woman at 25 or 30.
Yeah, I know, but your behavior and
again,
I
she's
will
not
appreciate
really
that people that are
like,
younger won't
she's not
understand
making
what I'm saying until you
prescriptions that
hit
actually
35,
remedy
which
the
is
source of the
I'm
problem.
going to be
She's just
35 this
saying,
year.
Okay.
You should feel ashamed.
You're acting like you're a
for
college
this.
dorm kid.
Yeah, and your catty insults towards people online make you seem like a high school mean girl. I mean, like, what do you mean? Like, we all have our things.
But you're
like,
selling to them things that you know aren't good. So
What do you think I'm
so
selling to them?
if you
What do you
were
think I'm
a
selling that I know
25-year-old,
isn't good?
like when I'm on the whatever podcast and I'm
Yeah.
surrounded by
Proud of being a
women
mean
that are
girl.
in their 20s
Destiny
and they're
really needs to
saying
bring
like,
this
you know, the
back
whole
to
life
her
is good.
being, like,
The reason why I
conspiracy
said to that girl
brained.
that I'm going to pray for you is because I know that
Needs
she's
to
going to have
bring
a
up
different
Jude.
perspective when she's older. So I'm not upset by that. I don't feel like that needs to be attacked when that woman,
should
when
elicit
those young girls are around me and we're
insane
talking about all
comment.
of these topics. When I'm sitting with a 35-year-old man, okay. And
What do you think I'm selling people?
And you know better, okay?
Wait, what do you think I'm selling people?
Well,
do you
like
think
I
I'm telling
said,
people to be a hoe?
what I said when you were defending the
He's selling
lifestyle of
people
being
their
a hoe, why are you
destiny.
doing that?
I don't think I defend the lifestyle
selling
of being a
people-
hoe.
You did a whole video
Incest argument.
basically saying that none of my points of me trying to tell these women that they essentially
Step
you can
one
do
of
something
how
better.
to
You don't have
have
to
sex
sell your
with your
body.
sister.
This was your like snazzy video comeback to it. Why are you making a comeback? Yes, you can make a video and be like, why can't someone do heroin? But why would you as a 35-year-old man want to sell something to someone or make it seem okay or cool or relevant when you
She's
know it's
just
harmful to them?
asking
I don't get that
questions.
because
What?
of your age.
So yeah, so I don't understand.
Nothing.
I don't
I'm
know
mocking
what
it at
your
her.
takeaway from the video was, or if there are researchers that give
Sorry,
you
I'm
like
la- I'm
talking
laughing
points
at
videos.
her.
But
It's
generally,
like,
what I
what?
talk about is when
Destiny's
it comes
not
to lifestyle,
selling
you have to
hair?
analyze
What?
both sides of things. If you grow up incredibly religiously conservative and you are like shamed out of sex and you don't have sex with anybody your whole life because you're super, hyper cognizant of your virginity and all of these like weird things, and that's like coming from an unhealthy external place, to say, oh well, maybe that's worth exploring.
Sex
On the
is
flip
scary.
side, if you grow up like hyper liberal and you fuck like 20 guys by the time you're
Cankles
20
are
years
bad.
old and you just want to bang everybody and you've got like weird associations with men and everything, I'd say, hey, you should probably slow down. It's probably not healthy. I just encourage
Did you have
people
a
to
good
like
nap?
explore honestly, to have like conversations
No.
with themselves, with their parents, could be with priests, could
Aw.
be with therapists, could be whatever, and to kind of figure out like what works for them and don't get pushed into one direction
Sorry to
from a
hear
culture
that.
side. It could be the left encouraging people to be way too promiscuous, or it could be the right for people that are shaming people for being promiscuous, saying that, well, this one lifestyle of family stuff is going to biologically be suited towards you as you get older. I think both of these are equally stupid because it just pushes people in the other direction.
Okay, I
So you
actually
don't
feel
believe in
bad.
anything.
No,
you're
you're
saying.
good.
Is that what you got from that?
Well, you're not committing to
I
anything.
believe in actually thinking for yourself. That's what I think. I think that every human being roughly exists in this like paradigm where if you fuck 100 people by the time you're 20, probably not healthy. If you've never had sex before and you're 30, probably not healthy. And that you should probably like try to gravitate towards what are like human norms, and then what are things that make you happy depending on your culture, depending on your geography, and then you kind of like
But I'm
explore
sorry,
in there.
I'm too
Don't be
tired to
shamed out of
fucking
exploring
be
from one side to
funny.
the other. Don't be pushed into something because somebody like Candace Owens or somebody like Stephen Bonnell tells you that you have to do a particular thing, but just like kind of
I
explore
don't
and figure
tell
out
people
things.
that they have to do a particular
If you
thing, but
fall
if I see
asleep
somebody
while
that's
we'll keep the
doing
stream
heroin, I'm
going.
not going to be like, it is whatever. And it's
But you will need to set a timer to stop it at some point.
True.
I want to have sex with my dog.
I would be pulling ashes out.
You should check
I'm
out
going to.
the fucking sex dog dolls that they're making, I guess.
Oh, what?
I would kill myself.
Me too.
Saw someone was posting about that on Twitter, and I'm just like, oh god. I just don't want to know.
Oh, that's gross.
just like whatever. You're just
Do you think that
experiencing having
heroin
your
is
son.
comparable to
I'm-
recreational sex?
I am.
Yes, I would know.
Quite frankly, I actually think a woman, as the one that I sat across from when
In fact,
you were
they-
critiquing
they,
this video, who says that
they
she
trigger
slept with
very
up
much
to,
the same
what was
parts
it,
of the
20 men
brain.
per night. Yeah, it's just as bad. And I know that that has to be hurting her soul. So I look at her as a human being.
Hurting her
and
soul?
It's,
What if
it's
she
one
just
of
has
the
a
few
different
times
lifestyle?
addiction
Completely.
and sexual
No, she
arousal
does- you
actually
know-
has
she
overlap.
what do you mean? She's telling you. She was very honest actually, and that's why I appreciate her, because she was very honest that for her it is just about money. Okay, but when I see that individual, when a young woman is saying that she'll sleep and see up to
I
10
hate
to 20
virgins
clients
too,
per
by the way,
night,
Fairy. It's
that's
not
a
that
broken
gross. It just means
individual.
that you're-
and it's just as
And they're
when you
broken
just as when you
because
see
what?
somebody
People
who
who are like,
says
"Oh my
that
God,
they're
this
doing
is so
heroin
weird.
or doing this, they don't need the guy, the cool guy at the party to be like, yeah man, it's whatever, like it's like, no, you actually like structure. You need somebody to say to you, you don't have to do this. There's so much better potential within you. You are young, you have your entire life ahead of you. Let's figure out what it is that you're great at. I understand the economic concerns. It's a really tough economy and it's easy money, but there's other things that you can do to make money that will give you better self-value. And so that's why I say that I think that what you're doing as a 35-year-old man is you're lying. You're just lying to
Do you think I'm
people.
telling women
Hey,
on
what?
average
Is
that
Casey
fucking
Bot
20
cool?
guys
When
tonight
you
is a
make
good idea?
videos and you're replying to conservatives who
Okay,
are
hi,
rightfully
Casey Bot.
saying that this lifestyle is not good, which should be abundantly clear to every single person, yeah, what you're trying to do is lie in a clever way. And ultimately, like I said, if you were 20, I'd be fine with it. But when
First
you're
of all, I don't know why if I was 20, why that would make
because
you
when
fine
you're
with it.
because
You'd have the same
That's
influence
her
on your audience
strategy,
regardless.
because your
Number
brain's
one.
not developed when you're 20.
Number two,
Switching
so what?
between
Your brain's always
topics.
developing as you grow.
No, you're
Candace, if he's 20, you shouldn't be talking to him. Let's be real.
What?
She's just a little bit too much of a brainwasher to be like. I'd feel uncomfortable with her like being around college students. Like the whole Steven Crowder talking to college students on that level made me uncomfortable.
Mm,
I'm gonna come.
true. Why did that make you uncomfortable?
Well, because if anything, they'd be more able to navigate this stuff after they encounter. At least they come out the other side of whatever training they're undergoing, and if they're able to like refer back to that, they're not going to have gaps in it that this propagandist, this pundit, can exploit. And of course, there's always gap. Like I'm essentializing, but I feel like it's just taking advantage of the lack of world experience and confidence in them. Whereas, like, I haven't seen any of these people actually debate Noam Chomsky on anything.
Okay. Fair.
your brain develops when you're 25, 26 years old. And so when you see a 20-year-old and they have a bunch of positions, I don't hold them to it. I think
I don't think that's
you
with
have
brain
time,
development. I
you're
think that's
gonna
with life experience. I think as you grow
no,
older,
but like
you
literally
experience
factually, I don't know if you want to Google this, but your brain develops when you're 25, 26.
If you really want to Google it factually, the 25 number came from one study that was done like 30 years ago where they only measured brain development up to 25. The reality is the plasticity of your brain and every other structure of your brain continues to grow into your 30s. That's technically where that number comes from. It's not true. You can look it up later if you want. The 25, 26 thing is a misnomer. It's not actually true.
Well, like I said, if you were 20, I would accept, but there is some
Oh, like that thing where she says your brain matures at 25. That's like wrong. It's different for everybody. It's like a range between like, I want to say like 23 and 26 or 27 or something.
Okay.
It's just a common misconception. That's it.
such a thing as objective truth, and people that shirk and pretend that there's not, and like
Objective
everybody can
truth
just do
relating to
whatever
how
they
you should
want.
live your life?
It's no about things that are harmful to people. Like objectively speaking.
So I'm curious.
Like,
Wait, what is the upper bounds on recreational sex that you think is harmful or not harmful?
when you're selling your body and sleeping with old.
I'm not asking that. I'm just saying, what is the upper bounds on recreational sex that you think is like healthy for a human being?
How harmful would the same dose be for a first-time user of heroin that's like well beyond, you know, what anybody should do their first time versus somebody who's done it like for years now?
Deadly.
Versus, you know, the long-time user might have a tolerance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would not go well.
Now, like, that could still sound objective to people. The interesting thing is, like, have you ever met those people who have been doing it forever but still seem to be, like, incredibly sensitive to it? Because I've heard of that.
Yeah, I was that kind of person, kind of.
Yeah, because that has to do with how many mu-opioid receptors you have and also how many genes you have to regulate that in response to opioids. So if you can't regulate your mu-opioid receptors enough, you're always going to be sensitive to it. And some people will be more than others. And we don't have, like, other than actually making someone take it, we have no real way of knowing who would respond to it like what, right? So there's nothing really objective about it. And it ends up being like a subjective self-report. Like, I feel more sensitive to this, whereas somebody next to me can take 10 times as much, even though they've been doing it half as long, and it doesn't affect them. If it was objective, it would just be really easy to draw hard lines. Like, here's where the harm begins and here's where it ends. You know, not using heroin versus using it, or using this much heroin makes it harmful.
Yeah. True.
Well, like, if you go past this, you're like clearly over the line.
I'm not gonna say to a person, this is a number that you should sleep with, and this makes you bad.
Don't accuse me of believing in nothing. I'm not saying out of a position where you only attack the most extreme
about
people.
The whatever podcast.
I'm going to attack the same people that you do. If some woman is on saying like, oh, you can fuck 20 guys a night and do OnlyFans you're 18, I'm going to say, in general, that's a pretty wacky, that's a pretty out there position. I argue with tons of people over this. I don't encourage people to start
OnlyFans. What are you trying to do? What purpose are you trying to fulfill? When you, as a 35-year-old man, see me sitting down with these young women trying to say, you don't need to do this, you don't have to do this for money, and you like attack it and try to be like, Candace is just a bitch, or like whatever, like she's blah 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 blah, she's just being a high school mean girl. It's like, no, I am trying. You are just to being tell a high school mean girl, that they are worth more. And when I said to that girl just end at the end of it, which I don't believe you showed, that I will pray for you and that you can do much more than this.
I will pray for you.
No, that is the most condescending thing a religious person could say to a non-religious. I will pray for you.
Okay, you can deal with your, I know that you went to a Jesuit school and you've got some issues with somebody.
Why do you guys issues?
But I meant that because
I love my high school.
Because for me to say, like, I meant when I said that I would pray for her. Like when she was describing her life, she was very upfront
that you'll pray for her.
Because I did pray for her.
Then do it privately. Why do you need to tell her that? You're only telling her that because you think you've got such a condescension about you. You've got such an air of superiority that you're going to pray for her.
Air of superiority? Because I said I would. God forbid someone says they'll pray. That's obviously an air of superiority because they're saying they're going to include you in their prayers.
Well, I mean, like, when you say God forbid, but like quite literally, God forbid. Isn't there a whole story of a lady going to a temple and quietly putting like 2 per cents or whatever the fuck into the tray?
Anti-Christian rhetoric.
What is anti-Christian about this?
If you say I'll pray for you, it's obviously you trying to be better. It's like, no, why are you even reacting to that? I'll pray for you. I'll pray for everybody that listens and watches this show. When people say that they're going to pray for you, they actually mean it, you guys. They just mean it. There's no double entendre thing going on there. And anybody that can go back and watch that clip, you will see that I was not speaking above her. I actually genuinely responded to that girl because she was so honest and she was so forthcoming. I thought I actually wanted to do more stuff with her, and we tried to reach out with her because she wasn't trying to lie or trying to pretend like her, her lifestyle was for health. She was clear that it was for money, and she was like, I'm not going to lie, this is why I do this. And I genuinely prayed for her. Actually, we were not enemies that were sitting across the table.
I love how she can't just acknowledge and accept that whatever this woman's doing, she's happy with, because that would be world breaking for Candace.
She's just she's so spurgy over explaining everything right now to justify her cunty attitude, and she
shut up, Kinkles, you're 35.
Oh my god, bitch. I am 27.
I turned 33 in May.
In May? May what?
Yeah. May 24.
Oh, May 11th.
Oh, close.
I don't understand how she doesn't get that I will pray for you. It's like, oh, you're fucked up. Well, I hope you get better.
She does. She just was pretending not to, I think.
I don't know. She's kind of psychotic, so she could have delivered
At the same
herself.
time, it's totally possible, because she is religious, she never uses it that way. I'm partly willing to believe that she didn't use it in that way and wasn't expecting it to be taken that way. Only because it's more of a secular thing to do. Sorry.
I'm just always sussy of people that flip-flop between ideologies, or supposedly flip-flop.
Candace probably thinks that would be to some degree like a mild blasphemy.
That what would be a mild blasphemy?
Saying I'll pray for you, but sarcastically, oh well, you're degrading religious rituals, and that's part of the communist education takeover thing.
Well, I think that what she means when she says I'll pray for you in that way is oh, you're controlled by the devil. I'll pray that he releases his grasp. That type of thing.
Maybe. I feel like if she was thinking that, she'd be more likely to be like, "I'll pray for you. I'll make sure the Lord's light shines through."
Oh, it depends what like religion
And
she is.
then smack them on the head.
But she's not a televangelist.
Well, she isn't not a televangelist. She's just not not entirely a televangelist.
I'm gonna guess. Is she Catholic?
I think she's
like
Baptist.
Yeah, she's a prude like a like Catholic, but no, she's more within the Christianity branches, denominations.
She has like kind of the Catholic aesthetic a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I mean by her being prudy that way. Same with Jordan Peterson, how he's not Catholic, but he sure as hell was like could have fooled me.
I'm not gonna lie, Jordan Peterson has always had like a mental illness aesthetic to me.
Okay, yeah, mental illness aesthetic, like that makes sense. Actually,
red pilled. Based.
The Committee on Mental Illness has convened.
The crying just it's so weird.
Oh no, especially like he would always cry when he's like, "I just care about men so much. I'm so afraid for them." It's like, yeah, I'm afraid for them too, that they're gonna believe your bullshit. But I don't know. I don't feel like crying over it personally.
I kind of disagree with you on that one.
There's nothing to disagree about. You're just wrong.
No, I think he gives a shit. But I don't think. I think.
Wait, I didn't even say he doesn't give a shit.
No, I mean the thing to cry about. Like I get it. Sort of, but I don't think it was.
Those are the tears of a king.
I mean, he's probably got some people, like personal, like people close to him that he feels like are affected. You know what I mean? But
it could always just be like poor emotional control too.
Possibly.
Oh yeah, especially because it's like a downfall from his rehab and stuff like that, and he's still recovering on levels that science is still starting to understand. It's like, for me, it's more like, could you imagine if at that point he also started to realize some of the way that his rhetoric really teaches young men to have this like cartoonist notion of evil versus good, and thinking in this very detached way about how systems and people work, and to see how that probably has made them just like these angry gamers online. And do you think like that would cause him to cry too? Like, just if he actually had to see the impact of his actions?
Maybe that's why he got the brain damage.
Well, did he get brain damage?
Well, he went through this weird like withdrawal thing in Russia that you should not do. That's like super unsafe. And I'm pretty sure he did get some brain damage from it. He recovered a lot, but
How did It's possible to get brain damage from withdrawal, but it's usually like a specific mechanism, like your blood pressure goes really high, so you get like an aneurysm or something.
well, they put him in like a medical coma, didn't they?
Hematoma is what I meant.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, they put him in a coma. Induced coma.
Huh. I didn't know that.
I just wouldn't do that in Russia, you know?
No,
it's anywhere.
You're less medically, like, okay, so people think it's more medically stable, but the problem is, like, a lot of the treatment we give people through like their withdrawals, like, we need like their feedback, and you can't get a lot of this feedback if someone's in a medically induced coma because they're not feeling what's going on in their body. And sometimes you can't respond quickly enough to things that do need kind of rapid response. Like, it's not always urgent, but when it does, that's when you need people to be able to communicate.
It does be urgenting.
Your face does.
Facts. Every single time I see you join my VC.
So no, it was not condescending when I started praying. It was a fact. When I left, I said, I will keep you in my prayers because I have in my heart, I want to see that girl in 10 years and know that she left that field and she is able to speak to women that are still within it and think that they have to sell their bodies for money and sleep with 10 men per night. I am going to continue to pray for that young woman because we need people who transform their lives to then show people that they can transform their lives. And it's not condescending to pray for anybody ever. So
okay, I will pray for you too then. Okay.
You should.
Safely detox.
I hope you pray for me. I want you to include me in your prayers. I want every person watching this to include. But I feel like our society has gotten so like anti-Christian. Like, oh my God, they're trying to be something. It's like, no, like I'll pray for you. I will literally pray for every single person that I think needs a prayer. And I felt like she needed a prayer. Like she could be there, you know?
Okay.
She could be there, you know? She could be as good as me. She could just be there. Maybe not as good as me, but like one of these days, like she could just not be a disgusting, low down, dirty skank.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of these days she could just. One of these days she could just not be a Nazi.
Oh my God, Becky! Look at her.
Oh my God.
Candace is kind of a.
Like, you should watch it. Her and I had no like.
I'm not going to bring race into this, but she is a Becky.
Oh my God. Cruel. How dare you use a white slur on this black queen.
I was going to say Black Becky just to make sure that it wasn't a white slur.
Black Becky.
Whoa, Black Becky.
Oh my God.
I wasn't even going to take it there. My God.
Oh my God, I'm dead inside.
There was no beef between her and I.
Well, you're telling me I did watch it and I responded to it. So I remember watching and responding to you going over the TikTok clip. I don't remember.
Praying is cool, you guys. Just so you know, it's super dope to pray.
Yeah. Telling other people you pray.
I'll pray for you. Look at that. But it's not cringe. There's nothing cringe about being a Christian. It's actually
never said there was anything cringe about being a Christian. Never said that at all.
The dopest thing you can do is pray in public.
What?
What if it involves a sex act?
What does that mean?
What if the praying involves a sex act? Does it become cool?
Like if you're going, oh my God, oh my
because
God.
we're like the side that's trying to like make kids. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to follow Candace's logic here. We're the side that wants to make kids sexualize or something, and so like if she's like
liberation, you're looking for the word liberate.
Right, and if we're trying to make things cool for the kids on TikTok, right? Then like. And Candace is like, praying is cool, and we're trying to make sex cool, then we should be like, you know what? When you have sex, just pray, and it makes it okay. I am throwing right now. Fuck.
I give that an 8 out of
10. 8 out of 10 throws?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how many time it took me to even like get it within the strike zone.
The dopest thing you can do is praying in public. Oh my God.
No, the dopest thing you can do is heroin.
Die. Actually, true.
By
You're
definition.
never as cool as me without heroin.
You know, talk about your faith and your Christianity. There's nothing cringe about being a Christian. There's nothing cringe about praying for others. There's nothing cringe about getting on your knees and praying to God when things are wrong in your life. And so that culture needs to come back.
Yeah, I think that's totally
everything that's going wrong in the society is by people being like told that praying.
Squidbillies was definitely a show. That is all.
No, there's nothing constant about it. It's dope. It's cool.
I don't know about that.
This is the new this is the new wave.
Well, listen, I disagree with everything you say. I think you're harmful to America. You think I'm harmful? That's fine.
No,
I do appreciate
I didn't say
you
you're
talking
harmful to America. I just said that it is harmful when you do things like that. You know, when you know something's wrong and you still try to like
Too bad
find
she
a way
didn't
out.
accuse
And
him
I just
of
think
being
that
a
we can all acknowledge
prostitute.
that.
That
it's
would have
some
been
of your body.
funny.
If she accused him of being a prostitute,
Yeah.
that would be pretty funny.
It would be even funnier if they were secretly dating.
Do you think Destiny banged her?
I don't think so, though.
No.
Wait till you see his
I don't
chat
even-
in a minute, though.
Because that would be like exploiting the mentally ill.
True.
Body is not a good thing, and we shouldn't encourage people to do it.
Okay. If people want to find you, or if you want to direct them to anything that you're
Candace
working on,
Owens.
yes.
Listen, if you are a super not Candace Owens fan, if you're like the biggest non-Candace Owens fan, I really challenge you to not believe the headlines that you've read and just watch one episode of my show. You don't have to commit to anything. Just watch one
shut up.
episode
Shut your
and
face.
actually listen to what I say out of my mouth and not how it's being interpreted by other people. And I know I've gotten so many emails from people saying that like they changed their lives because just so you know, I am not better than you. Like I
You're
said
gonna come
the
out
whole
and you're
time,
gonna be
I
like, I
drank
need
with the
something
best of
to
them. I
help
took
me
the most
touch-
liberal
in
route
touch
to
with
conservatism that
reality.
there ever was. So
Like,
I'm
you
not
will-
better
you
than
will
anybody that I
literally
speak to.
be
I'm
forced
speaking
to
from the
touch
heart and
grass.
trying to get people to
I have
avoid
tried watching
certain
one of her
traps that
shows.
you know I wish that
If
I
you're
would
gonna
have
watch
been able
any
to
show,
avoid
actually
in my
watch
life.
Alex
And
Jones.
we can have disagreements,
you at
but
least, like,
I
your brain,
think if you check out my
like,
channel on
turns over a
YouTube,
couple
check out the
times.
podcast, listen to one episode,
No, you.
you're probably going to be able to very
No, your
quickly determine
face.
and see where my
No,
heart's at.
you.
Okay. Candace Owens
No,
on
D's
YouTube.
nuts.
Thanks. And again,
No,
we're
you.
combative, but I do appreciate the conversation.
No, I do too. I would, by the way, I would love to have you
I
on
don't
my
have a
show. We could
comeback
talk about
anymore.
other topics as well, but I actually want to know what you think.
Your
Sure.
mom
Yeah,
is
if you ever want to,
you.
just have Mitch send me an email. So yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Bye.
Got him.
And I mean that in that I'm essentializing her as her sexual organs.
You see how? Do you see what just happened? Watch when she stands up. Watch when the camera cuts. Side profile. Now watch chat.
Oh God, it wasn't full screen.
God. God.
What is that?
It's God is like goddamn, like that ass. That's all that means. Whenever people say God in a chat, it's
Everyone put W in the chat.
it's so funny. That's so funny. That killed me. I saw that. I was like, oh, I'm waiting for it. And I started watching the chat. I was like, there it is.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty disgusting that DGG is basically just coom time.
What? Crazy.
Like, how is Tom being thrown under the bus for this, but Destiny isn't?
I think I should rape somebody. I'm definitely going to rape somebody. Yeah, I'm for sure going to rape somebody. That's a really good idea.
Paste.
Ban.
So is the content done already? Or are we all done here?
Nope.
Oh.
There are 2 things that we're about to check out.
Is it true that Lav got banned?
Yes, she was blacklisted.
Oh my! That is a 3.5 hour video.
It was a stream earlier. So
I've watched 12-hour video essays, by the way, and
Jeez.
I'm just saying, like, you gotta really work your ass off to make a 12-hour video essay worth watching.
Yeah, that is incredible, man. Jeez.
I just use shit like that to fall asleep.
No, Quentin Review's videos are really good. Like, I would never give a shit about Victoria Justice aside from there's a bit of femme aesthetic that makes me be like, oh, sometimes I wish I could had a high school life as a girl. That's all, right? But aside from that, like, he keeps the Victoria Justice series interesting the whole way through, and then afterwards it is the Sam and Cat, which is like a spin-off.
Yeah.
And also a spin-off of iCarly. And he just covers it so well. Like, it almost got stale for me at the end, but it was just a bunch of intermissions I didn't care about anyways. and I still don't care about it, but at least I feel there's like a sense of completionism to watching it all. Like you feel whole.
You've got the full context.
Well, no, it's like you want to know how it ends. It's so bizarre the whole way through that it's like if this doesn't end in some crazy way, then I'm, you'll just be dissatisfied, which means that you're implicitly satisfied by the journey.
Oh, look, it's Kankel's favorite show.
I fucking hate this show.
What is this?
Fresh and
Oh,
Fit.
Fresh and Fit.
It's weird because I feel like if I wasn't here, then this show would slowly become this.
My stream?
Yeah.
Wild take.
You would no longer be on it because you're too slow, but
I'm gonna come.
What's number one for you?
You
I
not
would say
come.
me.
What's number one for you?
Kankel's just taking my
What about
blows
you?
at this point. It's making me feel
I'm
bad.
education and career, then fun, and then man.
Okay.
Damn.
Okay, she's 18, so
Yeah.
makes sense.
Makes sense.
Career, fun, and then man last. Okay.
Yes.
I can't do that.
What about you?
I'm gonna let chat decide. Like,
career fun.
am I bullying
first, man, come
Kankles
on.
at this point?
I'm just trying to survive.
Vote now.
Okay.
Yeah, one if
Okay.
I'm bullying him, two
What
if I'm
about
not.
So for me, it's career, just because I was raised to not depend on a man.
Okay.
Call queen. Don't need no man.
Then it would be man, then fun, for me.
Okay.
Okay.
What about you?
Probably man, fun, then career.
Okay.
Oh, few.
What about you?
Morty Moody
Same with me, man, fun, career.
or Moody Morgan says, I am preventing misogyny. Thank
paper.
God.
What about you?
It's gonna be man, career, and then fun. We can't have
You're
fun
not
if we
wrong,
haven't
honestly.
established anything for the community or raise our children properly.
Okay. What about you?
And Kellodge or
Career
Keldodge. Sorry,
first.
it's so hard for me to get used to your name.
It's just
You're here to bring on
Well,
bring more misogyny,
yeah,
right?
Yes.
Okay. We got like a
here-
yin yang
My-
balance.
Porn, so
I am the
porn star?
what do they call it?
and he lives in Ireland, so that's just online.
Freaking sorry.
You're the
Family
Mr.
friendly.
Girl.
No,
Oh, okay. So
Don't.
what does he do now?
He's reserved.
He,
I hate Mr. Girl.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
I'll
Exactly.
tell you this though.
It's one of the only people I.
No, but listen. You're not the
Okay, so
Mr. Girl we
do you
want.
ever
You're the
feel
Mr. Girl we
like
need.
He,
Oh, okay.
like, how does that make you feel? Like, do you feel like that's supportive to you when you're
he's
Somebody-
my number one supporter.
okay? I just would want to. For me,
Right.
like a man,
Work, and I knew that there was.
It depends what you mean by successful cutie.
this is mine.
Successful
you know,
in
this
views
is,
and money
Be like,
and
wait, okay,
fame
maybe something
and
else
the
here,
guests
but
they
guys,
have
the
on,
industry-
yes.
Did it be?
But do they have their
Stuff
souls?
that
That is the
in
question.
Michigan.
What
so
happened in high school?
like
if you wanted
Unless you
young
don't think
culture,
souls
the term
exist, then
relation-
he
I guess you're just right.
put on me like
that thing is when
so allow
I'm not
me
really.
I know.
These chicks are all too young.
action, and so it sometimes transfers totally.
probably I think like
Yeah.
a long
Yeah.
Mike was I'm saying, I mean, he love you and dancing.
Not gonna lie. Why dye your
Sorry.
hair green?
Whether it's a white or
You,
on
mhm,
everything.
but it's just a
Because
therapist
it's not a normal
I think
color.
it's
from your.
I was ready. I a chance until
I just feel like it's hard to pull off.
So whether it's men, whether it's female, but strictly men, I will say I have not had the best experience.
You
with
should
men.
have, like,
you know,
pink
I've only
hair,
had one
if anything,
situation
I
where I can
think.
say the man.
I
was
should have pink hair.
and I ended it, but
Yeah, like that darkish
kinda-
red kind of pink hair.
just 'cause we had
Some lovely ladies in the panel. Get right into.
I have gel. I could spike it.
Damn, Chris ain't talking. Let's go here on the couch. Government. Get
I'm dead serious.
Yeah,
Then
I
I'll
think I
really
mean-
should-
What's the color I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Not
You just see her
maroon.
potentially. You can take.
I think
What's
it is
your name?
maroon
Where are
actually.
you from?
I can't look any
Yes,
younger
yes.
because President Sunday's audience thought I was a minor.
Okay.
Men who I
Yeah, Keikles was being all like he was like, I don't know, pedojacking me or something because when I was inviting you in, he was like, "Oh, they're over 18, right?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, hey, I may have hang out in food shop server, but I'm not that cringe.
I'm 32.
No, I said the same thing basically that you just said. President Sunday said. I said, "Is this person an adult?"
It's okay. Keffel said that too. She told me that she thought I was 19.
Yeah, you just
I'm like,
look young.
I do.
Not
It's
a
just
bad
weird.
thing.
Cankles, you're just not. Can you stop this?
That means you guys
Torturing us.
have to keep Mr. Girl away from me.
True.
I am. However, he wanted mothering nurture. Like his mother, girlfriend. He was
Psychic transfer happening when a man shoots cum
Oh my
inside
God.
of another man's
Cat
ass.
Dodge. You need to find like the "I need an adult" sound bit, and then every time someone donates, that's
Putting a
what
man
plays.
first.
when you, and I mean shit. But
Right now, I think I have Trump.
no, but it's okay. I'm right.
Kind of relationship
No.
where the
I'll change it.
first, and I'm not.
Yeah, but I'm
you
saying.
like even saying everything, and I have the.
We
get
need to
married,
change
but
up.
we.
And I just. It's too late.
Every fun.
Yes.
Question for you: do you think?
No, like, and I do what I gave her. You hear on lifestyle
Where is
choices.
this?
That's how they present.
Hold on, maybe it's in the comment.
So here's a fun little idea, by the way, and I know you're working, Cankles, but you can still use your phone for this. When you're listening to stuff and you're a streamer, take notes on like the timestamps of what you want to cover.
I was watching all this just before I got on stream, and I didn't watch this.
That's when you take the notes.
I wasn't watching this, so I didn't know when the timestamp was. Like I never saw anywhere.
Well, considering how it's like, she says this or whatever, like they're clearly gonna save that towards the end, right? So whatever this is supposed to be, if that's what you're looking for, then
Whose fan art is that?
I don't know. It's an interesting one.
Republicans eat their young. They really do.
it's better than like half the pretentious shit I see people opening their streams with, or like Queeman copying food shops opening.
Is it Queeman? What? How do you pronounce his name? I'm calling him Cooey Man, and I don't think that's right.
That's fine too.
Yeah,
I call him
both is fine.
Squeeman. I call him Squeeman more often than not, because he's always squeaming.
Ever since he met food shops, he's been more of a cuddle bunny.
Oh my god. Don't.
She's done that to a couple people I've noticed. Not me though.
I guess I gotta go to Rumble for this.
Well, if there was any pacing to this stream, it's absolutely evaporated.
Good.
That's okay.
Everyone's still here.
It's in the middle of the night, so.
You mean the middle of the morning?
No.
The middle of the night ended for
I don't know.
5 hours for me ago.
Okay, it's whatever the military time is. That should satisfy you.
Again, we're 5 hours into the morning. 500 hours.
Is it 5?
And why would military time satisfy me? Like, sure, my grandpa taught me how to use it from an early age, but it doesn't mean like I'm obsessed with it.
Actually,
I don't even
it's
care if someone I disagree with.
3:56.
Say it with some hair on your chest. Get out
There
of
it
these
is. You're
like.
just in the
he
wrong
was
part of the
20,
planet.
You know, I'm like, it's raining. He's like,
To be fair, Winnipeg is the wrong part of the planet.
Circle.
You're just
He's the most
objectively
punchable face.
behind
Oh, did you say Nikki?
I meant Cardi.
Who would you fight?
Who's number one on the hit list, Candace? Who's number
I'll
one?
tell you who's number one on the hit list. Zelensky. I will punch
Whoa.
Zelensky straight in his face. The money you are taking from Americans right now,
On a
dude,
hit list?
Zelensky can get it, okay?
Yeah.
And I would definitively whoop his ass. Like he's just, I mean, like just like the audacity.
He's a small guy.
Like just he's.
Would
obviously
you
a small
really,
guy.
Candace?
And the audacity to keep demanding that we
of course
all
she
go to
would.
work to support whatever.
She would
he's
try to
doing
go
in his
like all
little
like
corrupt
NBC
circle.
Dateline,
He's
like
the most
interviewing
punchable face
him.
I've ever seen. So it would be Zelensky.
What about a girl?
And she knows full well that
I don't
like
think there's any girl that I feel
people are
like
going
I-
to start
like I
calling her like
dislike
angry black
enough that I
and
want to.
stuff like that for it, and she doesn't want that like kind of attention. She's way too. She's at least too smart to do that to herself.
Is she?
Oh yeah.
It's usually people that are just like lying to the American people, and I'm just like, ooh, I just want to punch you. I don't think. I mean, is there a girl
Like
that I have
her
beef with?
argument with Ben Shapiro was the most
No,
calculated
like it's not
thing
even.
I've ever seen.
There's no rapper that I feel.
It could be any other public figure or anything like that.
Watch that.
Like I have hope. I always say I have hope for Cardi B. Like I want her to like just
There we
change,
go.
like stop rapping about her vagina. You know, like you made it. You don't have to do that.
Stop rapping about that.
Thoughts and
Like
prayers.
is she?
I served her.
She really
actually
cares
served her
about Cardi
twice.
B's vagina, man.
She's so mean.
no.
There is no
Shout
hope
out
for the
to-
hopeless. So mean.
Cardi B versus Candace Owens, 2025.
I don't know. I can't
Wouldn't it
right
be
now off the top of my head
hilarious if
think of
Cardi
any
B
woman.
was
She a
doing
black
that
female,
to
come on.
trigger conservatives like Candace Owens this whole time?
I wouldn't
So-
be surprised if she was.
And so every time Candace mauls about it, it's literally just a Cardi W.
Stretch.
Yeah, that I reserve that kind of ire for.
I don't know if you ever watched Crackhead Barney's videos.
No,
it's not a
I
stretch.
agree with you on that one, man. You're stolen so much money from us. Cool.
I haven't heard of this crackhead
We
Barney.
have chats or no? Chris?
Yeah, we can read the chats and we're
Oh
gonna close this
gosh,
out
she's so
because
funny.
I'm like, out of state tuition 30K. He's like, no, it's not. It's like,
she's had a long day. She had to debate Destiny earlier.
Yes.
That's a pain.
That's
it
tough.
wasn't even a
That's tough.
debate. He was just debating himself. He was just going in circles, like debating weird things. Where I'm like, out of state tuition 30K. He's like, no, it's not. It's gonna be contrarian. Let me look it up. And then I'm like, and he's like, it's 30K. And then he was like, oh well, that's just out of state. And I'm like, that's what I said. I think you're
Very,
talking so fast
very
you can't even
floss. The
hear
real question
yourself.
is, why
And
aren't you
keep like
bullying
moving.
Cankles?
It's gonna be contrarian. Let me
Him getting that wrong is a little bit embarrassing, but it's understandable.
With the college tuition thing?
Yeah, because didn't he go to college a really long time ago?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he was throwing hard there.
Was he?
Oh yeah, he should have known that.
What did he fuck up on? I don't know. I
He-
don't know shit about that stuff.
Assuming Candace, you know, was rich or something.
He thought that, like, he kind of implied that student aid was just, like, money that they gave you, but, like, it's still loans. The only thing is it just doesn't have an interest rate on it.
Oh right, yeah, that's the part I forgot. The part that matters.
Okay.
Let me look it up, and I'm like, and he's like, it's 30K.
Econ
And
brain
then he
is
was like,
useful
oh well,
sometimes.
that's just out of state. And I'm like, that's what I said. I think you're
I'll
talking so
just
fast
show
you can't even
myself that.
hear yourself, and you're keep like moving. What are you even debating? Like, do you really care this much about like the price of
shit.
out of state
just wanna hear
tuition?
some
Like,
thought.
Sorry,
I asked him. I said,
He's
what
a
do you
professional
actually?
contrarian.
Yeah,
That's
like
what
all
he is.
you're just doing is like whatever someone says, you say the
I
opposite, like a
laughed.
a
And
chat
it was a
GPT.
joke.
You know, I'm like,
You're
it's raining.
such a
He's like, it's
troll.
actually it could be snowing if you're sitting
That's
outside.
really
So I'm like,
funny.
okay.
I am actually tired.
Does that mean anything to you? Like,
about
have
hanging
some
out for the night.
substance. You know, you're a 35-year-old man.
I
I kept
respect
saying, I was
Destiny. I
like,
get
you're
along with
35,
him, but
dude.
he's definitely a professional contrarian.
Yeah,
I've told
and
him this a
I
million
can
times. You
respect
argue,
any man.
Destiny, goddammit.
And if he was 20, I would be fine with it. But I'm just like, you're a 35-year-old man, dude. Like, believe something. Right? I don't even care
Why
if
do
you
you-
disagree with. Say it with some
Why is
hair on
calling
your
him a
chest. Get out of these,
35-year-old
like,
man a dumb?
this outfit that you're wearing, you're dyeing your hair. It's like, this is not 35-year-old
a
man shit.
fucking
You know what I
dipshit.
mean?
Yeah.
It didn't end well. I think he got pretty upset, but I just...
I mean,
you know,
she's
I wish him well. I want everybody to find
She's
substance in their
how
life.
old?
But
And she
35
basically
as a
does the
grown man,
exact same
2
thing.
marriages, open marriages. It's like you just you gotta. No, I'm not even trying to
I don't know if
disrespect
you
him.
guys
It's a
heard me, but
fact.
I'm
It's a
actually gonna go to
Wikipedia
bed,
page
so-
fact. You
it's
know,
fine.
and it's like people don't follow people and don't listen to people whose lives you wouldn't want. That's what I would say to everybody. And he plays to young people who just want somebody to reinforce their bad ideas. And I'm never going to do that because he did comment on me doing something like this and was like just defending people that had bad lifestyles. And I'm like, why would you want girls to have a bad lifestyle? You're pretending that I'm the monster. I'm sitting across from these people saying like, you're worth more. You can do better. No matter what you've done, your life can change. Don't do this.
Yeah.
And you think you're the hero for being like, oh, Candace doesn't understand. Maybe these girls is what they want. It's like, no, you're a predator in my book. Like, you know that this isn't going to be how women, like, it's not going to fulfill their lives in a positive way. So, anyways, that was a little sidebar just to like say,
cool.
don't follow people
A
that are just
predator.
being contrarian. Like, make sure they actually are giving you some substance.
What?
I will say this. I've made jokes. I say, you know, women shouldn't be in leadership roles. They shouldn't be in politics. But I will make
One exception?
One exception. I think, Candace, you need to do something in the political world because more women need to hear your message.
Yeah.
And the reality is, unfortunately, men, we can't get through to women the same way. We speak in a certain way where just even before, you're able to interpret what I said, and you're able to interpret what she said.
Oh,
You're able
maybe
to marry
you
the two and let her
speak
be
in a
happy,
certain
whatever it may be. And I think it's very important that
Seriously.
there's a female voice that has some logic and reason, etc. And women,
And
a lot
you
of
are
times, don't
not
want to
it.
hear what we got to say.
Right.
We need someone that can speak to them, and I think you should really think
And
about getting into
also,
office.
as men,
I genuinely mean that. I'm very
we respect
serious.
your opinion, which is crazy.
Yeah,
We
like,
don't respect our
yeah,
opinions,
no, Ken, it's like,
Well, I just respect men. I'm like, we're different, you know. And I think so much women are trying to change men or to tell men that they're not good. And I'm like, why are we doing that? Like,
That's about it.
She's so fucking retarded. I can't.
Oh yeah. And then
I do have a weird, like, I think listening to Lav is fucking hilarious, even though she's insane.
Daily Wire comment. That's the best part.
I just want to know, like, what's, like, her diagnosis?
Everything.
true. It is like everything.
all right, ladies and gentlemen, where do we?
Let's see.
So I get it.
You don't.
I feel like she just like mirrored Destiny and talked really fast and was like kind of incoherent, and I don't know how you talk to somebody like that.
She's just kind of a cunt. Where the fuck is it?
What are you looking for specifically?
This.
All right, guys, happy Thursday. Today on the show, holy smokes. You're not going to believe this, but there is, in fact, a Diddy and Michael Jackson connection.
Ryan.
Yes, the lawsuit that we have been covering and following. So much being revealed. You're not going to believe that somehow it is connected to Michael Jackson and his death. And I got to be honest, I'm kind of terrified. I think this is going to be the last day that I cover it because we're getting close to something that is very dangerous, I believe.
I don't know. This is crazy, though. This was just the other day. Oh, this is yesterday. Destiny, I guess, didn't see this. And if he did, this morning or this afternoon would have been so much funnier. He would have been bringing this shit up. Like, why are you talking about these people this way? I'm gonna just leave it as a surprise.
All right, so I wasn't kidding at the top, guys. I am probably...
Huh?
I just said that's quite the title. I'm done being threatened.
Yeah, it gets crazy.
Not going to cover this anymore because it is definitely getting a bit terrifying. Obviously, we covered this. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch. I believe it was Monday's episode. But yes, the Diddy lawsuit
Ryan, she took the COVID vaccine and this is what happened to her. Lab, you mean?
What?
Nice.
Okay.
That's funny. Absolutely crazy. Full stop. What if I told you guys that it is about to get even crazier, that there is directly a link to Michael Jackson's death? I want to be clear that when everything was going on with Michael Jackson, the lawsuits, his death, I thought that we were in full conspiracy theory territory when people were saying that Michael Jackson was killed. I actually know a lot of people that are in the industry who believe that Michael Jackson was killed, and I just thought it just sounds too whacked out to believe that somebody intentionally killed Michael Jackson. Of course, why would they do that? And also, I was believing the media. The media was extensively saying every single day that he was a pedophile, even though he factually won his case. I allowed my image of Michael Jackson certainly to be corroded by the media throughout that time period. I will fully confess that. Now, I want to remind you, before we get back into Michael Jackson, what we learned in the
Lav
Diddy
did
documents,
kill
just to
Michael
very
Jackson.
quickly recap.
Yes.
Well, if you read through them again, these are all allegations, but you will come out of it understanding that there is allegedly some sort of a
She
blackmail
killed
ring
Bob
that is
Saget too, yeah.
operating throughout Hollywood, and that artists that are producing music are
Because he's
actually
Jewish.
being controlled via being induced into drugs at parties, and then what takes place is they're being recorded, and sometimes they're being recorded while they are committing sexual acts with minors. And something that we also saw in these docs is that these parties, at least a lot of them, are taking place in the Virgin Islands, which again just makes you go, what's happening here? Because Jeffrey Epstein, obviously, his home, or he owned an island that was just off the coast of St. Thomas. So we hear that again. I also am jogging your memory
There's
about
no
the
way she doesn't say
Bitcoin
vagina in the next
millionaire
5
who,
minutes.
right before his death, found drowned, accidental drowning, even though he was fully clothed and had his wallet in his pocket, tweeted that the CIA and the Mossad were running a blackmail ring in the Virgin Islands. Something else that we learned in the Diddy lawsuit was that the media and the authorities are complicit. So the ring has real power, not imagined power. Again, I am using the word alleged
Mossad in the
because
room
this
with us
person,
right
despite
now?
having, video evidence and he has presented photographic evidence, this has not yet gone through the court system.
Yeah, Bob Saget
And so we
died.
can't say that it's entirely true. And I'd say the biggest point that we took away from these Diddy docs was that this ring, if you believe it exists, can and will murder people to protect themselves. And he intimated this event that happened allegedly at a recording studio where Diddy and his son allegedly shot someone.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. The audio is like borked.
Yeah, okay, it's not just me. I was like sitting here like what the fuck?
It's what?
It's getting like almost like skips, like crackling, sort of.
And he intimated this event that happened allegedly at a recording studio where Diddy and his son allegedly shot someone, and it was covered up by the LAPD and then the media. All right, so within those docs, and this is where it gets relevant, there is one man that is named as being the person that can do the cleanups, right? This is the guy that you are supposed to call if you get into any sort of a scenario. So in these docs, it says, Mr. Combs instructs his staff to always contact Mr. Muhammad, that is Fahim Muhammad, if they are ever pulled over by the police in Miami or California. And upon information and belief, this is regarding the shooting that took place at Chalice Recording Studios. Again, he is alleging that Diddy and his son shot someone. And after that shooting, the documents say explicitly that Mr. Muhammad spoke with the LAPD after G was shot at the recording studio. The LAPD was in the recording studio and witnessed the blood in the restroom, and they went with the bogus claim that the shooting of G occurred outside of the studio. This was all thanks to Mr. Muhammad's connections within law enforcement. So again, what we are seeing there is that you call this guy and this guy will make it disappear, and the media will report whatever the incident is in a capacity that covers up the crime, allegedly. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The cleanup guy, Mr. Fahim Muhammad, was also on the scene when Michael Jackson died. So I want to introduce you to and allow you to listen to Ian Carroll. He's an independent journalist that is investigating everything that is going on, and he explains that connection that Fahim has with Michael Jackson. Take a listen.
Is she okay?
So TikTok sourcing. TikTok journalism. Hard-hitting facts.
Okay. I do have to give her credit, though, that she is willing to risk her well-being to get the truth out there, because they're for sure coming for her.
Good.
Just came out that shows tons of evidence that P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, has been running a sexual blackmail operation very much like Jeffrey Epstein, but in the rap and music industry.
Looks like a very
for basically
dependable
30
guy.
years. And in that lawsuit, we learned that his head of security while he's running the sexual blackmail ring is this guy named Fahim Muhammad, who before working for Diddy was the head of security for Michael Jackson when he was only 21. And he was one of the first people on the scene when Michael Jackson died. And before we go to Michael Jackson, the most important part of the Diddy case to bring across is the fact that the record executives at the very top knew what P. Diddy was doing. They were attending the parties with underage girls where they were spiking drinks. They were deeply involved in Diddy's personal life, and all evidence points to them supporting his operation, or at the very least turning a blind eye to it.
So yes, this is obviously huge. It's also potentially terrifying. And now, if you want to be rational in this rational side of your brain, you just go, okay, well, this could just be a coincidence, right? Like Fahim Muhammad, he is in security. And yes, he obviously is high up in security. He was providing security to Michael Jackson. He happened to die on his watch. Big deal, right? Big deal. Well, I think that would lead us to the question of who exactly is Fahim Muhammad, because that's kind of a big first job to have. You're 21 years old and you're protecting the king of pop. What exactly are his qualifications? Let's go back to Ian Carroll and his reporting.
And now, here's the best part. Check this out.
To be fair, you don't want
this is in all of his
bios,
bios, by the way, but we're pointing it out now. In 2008, Fahim graduated from Sacramento State University with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in real estate and marketing. Okay? Do you realize what's wrong with that yet? Anything coming to mind? When did Michael Jackson die? June 25th, 2009. Jackson died from cardiac arrest caused by a propofol and benzodiazepine overdose, caused by his doctor, apparently. Hold up. Hold the phone. Pause. Why is a dude who just graduated college last year with a business and real estate degree the head of security for the king of pop, for Michael Jackson, the most famous musician of all time?
Yeah, that is remarkably
suspicious. The deep state gave him the connection.
Ah, yeah.
True.
For real, though, it probably pays way better. Like, why would you not?
Actually true. Security licenses are really easy to get.
Just
My fat ass got one.
And if we had a media that was interested in actually presenting the truth and not just propagandizing on behalf of the state, they would probably explore and look deeper into who this character is. But of course, that's not what the media does. Instead, they are meant to convince people of certain narratives. And like I said in the past, I've been a victim to that. I was obviously very young when everything was going on with Michael Jackson, and I believed the media, which is why I was kind of stunned to kind of go back and revisit the Michael Jackson case. And Ian has extensively unpacked that, revealing, and I did not know this, maybe perhaps because the media wasn't interested in telling us the end result. But yes, the FBI raided Michael Jackson's home. They poured through hours upon hours of the video footage that he had, other materials, documents that were in his house, trying to find this connection to Michael Jackson and potential child abuse. And what ended up being the result was that they could not find a single shred of proof that Michael Jackson had abused any children. And yet, despite this, the media convinced us that he was a pedophile, or maybe they didn't convince you, but they definitely did a good job convincing me that Michael Jackson was a pedophile. And to be clear, maybe it's perhaps the lack of evidence that was ever uncovered. Michael Jackson was found not guilty of all of the charges that were brought against him. But that didn't stop the media's obsessive attacks against him. They still wanted people to believe that this man was a bad individual. And so they shifted their claims and they started revealing in so many articles, so many front page news pieces were written to tell the masses that Michael Jackson was a raging anti-Semite. It is a fact, by the way, that Michael Jackson did keep a list of people in the industry that he said were his enemies, okay? On that list were people that all happened to be
hilarious that people like this can make all of these stretches and put this shit all together, and they're like, oh my God, look how connected all this shit is. And then you've got fucking Trump calling Georgia saying, I need 10,000 votes. And they're like, well, I mean, who knows what was really going on there?
Seriously. It's insane.
Jewish. So it was lawyer Gloria Allred, music exec Tommy Mottola, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, you may have heard of him, and I'm going to mention him later, Israeli illusionist Uri Geller, and also Michael Jackson's former manager, Dieter Weisner. Now, to be clear, it was Dieter himself that revealed that Michael Jackson had this list, but he says that Michael Jackson was just paranoid, that Michael Jackson thought that these industry people were all colluding to try to ruin his life and to take over
Has
his
Candace
life.
ever met Nick Fuentes?
Again, that was just Michael Jackson
I
being
think so,
crazy and being a raging anti-Semite. Well, Ian Carroll also investigates those claims as well. Take a listen.
And yes, Jackson did say that the Jews are, probably referring to the Jews in the music industry, are like leeches and that they took everything from them and that they did it on purpose.
Well,
but when you look into those allegations or those insults, you realize that because of his will that was probably fake and filed right before his death. So the will was signed on July 7th in Los Angeles by 3 witnesses. But Jackson's family pointed out that he was in New York that day, and there's video proving it. So they changed their story. But the witnesses definitely saw it, and it was just in New York. So anyways, because of this will, John Branca was put in charge of his estate, which included his net worth of $230 million, but far more importantly, his 50% share of Sony ATV worth $750 million. Yes, he was taking on Sony. He was going after the hand that feeds him. And when you look into John Branca, in 2003, Jackson fired Branca because he was siphoning money out of Jackson's accounts in collusion with Sony Music CEO Tommy Mottola and funneling it through a bunch of offshore accounts in the Caribbean. Random. John Branca is Jewish, and Tommy Mottola is also Jewish.
Wow. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know any of that? Because I certainly didn't. I didn't realize that this was a conflict at the end of Michael Jackson's life, that suddenly they were alleging that he signed a new will and handed everything over to the very people that he was fighting, the very people that he was saying were colluding to take things from him, ended up, in the end, taking things from him, despite their remarkable mistake saying that he signed this new will in a place that he simply wasn't at. So yes, Michael Jackson's estate was transferred over to specific individuals who happened to be Jewish. So what do we make of all of this? What do we make of all this? What do you think about all of this?
Specifically,
well,
Ben
I'm going to be
Shapiro.
honest with you that these claims keep coming up too often in Hollywood for me to be comfortable with it, right? We saw this, obviously, it's not just now the Diddy lawsuit, it's not just now Michael Jackson. We also have seen these claims with Kanye West, notoriously, obviously, when he tweeted out, I'm about to go DEFCON 3 on some Jews, and the media freaked out, and people in the Jewish community were understandably very scared, not knowing what he meant. And I very much abstained from speaking much about the issue because people were so emotional that people couldn't hear, even if I had shared, and even when Kanye did share that he was speaking about specific people in Hollywood that he believed were coming after him and were trying to control him. He actually named some of those individuals. He shared personal text messages of a friend of his, a personal trainer to the stars, who again happens to be Jewish, who was threatening to put him in the hospital and to drug him against his will. Harley Pasternak is his name, and the media barely reported on those text messages that he shared publicly because obviously he was enemy number one. And here's what else I will tell you. When that Kanye situation went down, I was being
the one
threatened
before this one
by a person. Kanye situation, obviously he was enemy number one.
A little bit.
And here's what else I will tell you. When that Kanye situation went down, I was being threatened by a person named Rabbi Shmuley, person that Michael Jackson put on his enemy list, the person that I had never heard of, was threatening me and saying that unless I came out and said things explicitly against Kanye, he would effectively ruin my life. He said that he would take out a front page ad and smear me as an anti-Semite. And it wasn't just him, it was also his daughter. They were messaging me saying, don't mess with Jews. Very bizarre stuff, and they have not stopped, to be clear. And him and his daughter have consistently pulled clips from this show, taken them out of context, and tried to convince Jewish people that I hate them.
Candace Owens is gripped with a poisonous, almost pathological hatred of Jews. It's actually become very serious. It's actually almost frightening. When you see a woman like Candace Owens blood libeling the Jewish people,
That guy looks so Jewish.
Her anti-Semitism goes by the day.
There is something really, truly wrong
You
with
can tell
Candace
he's
Owens.
Jewish
You
because
guys
his
know
nose
that I
enters the
dislike
room before
liars
he
and
does.
anti-Semites more than anything in the whole entire world. And here, we have a combination of both.
That's a good
Candace Owens simply will not stop defending Kanye West. It's like an obsession. If she's unable to genuinely and authentically condemn what Kanye said, it says a lot about her. If you come for us, we'll come back at you with everything that we have. I have heard from hundreds of you who feel so backstabbed and betrayed and disappointed in Candace Owens and others who defended, who enabled and encouraged Kanye West to continue spreading lies and venom and medieval Jewish hatred. Candace Owens posted a picture of my face and my name and my account to her over 4 million followers yesterday, many of whom are violent.
He got what?
Oh, I just said she has to emote a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Crazed and unhinged.
You really went after Candace Owens today. Why?
And that's a sliver of what she actually deserves. She is such a liar. She is an anti-Semite. She hates Jews. She has a thing with Jews.
It's incredible, isn't it? Like, weird.
And while Jews are being attacked around the world, she finds it really necessary to spend her time, use her platform to defend and protect Kanye West while she talks
A Hitler lover.
crap about
Kanye
Israel.
West is not just a anti-Semite. He's a Hitler lover. That's a different level altogether.
Literally. She is abominable. I actually am disgusted by her because she hates Israel. We are coming for you, Candace, on the media, on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter.
The more she defends Kanye West, the more we're going to call her out.
Defending Kanye, we will come for you.
It's utterly ridiculous. It's
That's not
insane.
gonna
I know
help
many
her
Jewish
delusion.
people watch this show. Many Jewish people are my friends. And so what I believe is something that should be explored is whether or not what's happening is that just like within all communities, there are gangs, right? Gangs can form. We understand this. In the Black community, we've got the Bloods and we've got the Crips. Well, imagine if the Bloods and the Crips were doing horrific things, murdering
the Bloods and
people,
the Crips?
controlling people with blackmail. And then every time a person spoke out about it, the Bloods and the Crips would call those people racist, would get the media to say those people were racist. Any person that was talking about a specific gang, a small group of people, would say, oh my God, no. That's like slavery. You can't at all say anything bad about the Bloods and the Crips. And the entire Black community believed it and was scared and thought, oh my God, like, is slavery actually coming back? It would be emotional manipulation because, of course, we would know that despite the fact that the Bloods and the Crips are Black, that the majority of Black people do not support the crimes that they have committed, the crimes that they continue to commit.
Are you falling
Gang.
asleep?
A little bit.
What if that is what is happening right now in Hollywood, if there is just a very small ring of specific people who are using the fact that they are Jewish to shield themselves from any criticism? It's food for thought, right? And I think, again, there have been enough people that are speaking out about a ring in Hollywood, also a ring potentially in DC, that we should start to ask those questions. All of us, Black, Spanish,
That wasn't me.
Jewish, Chinese, Japanese, all Americans should want answers because this appears to be something that is quite sinister. I will put a button on this by bringing up some tweets from Meek Mill. He has been under fire. The Black media, quote unquote, Black
this is so
media,
funny to me because I'm
saying
Jewish.
that he is gay. And he tweeted this: I want to get citizenship in Ghana. America is made to tear Black men down if you don't follow orders. Every Black blog site enhanced that post to make me seem gay. I change laws for our people and I donate millions. They are designed to destroy the image of Black leaders. It can't work with me though. You gotta really kill me. And I still will get bigger after death. This is God, not me. LOL. What do we say to that? Oh, well, what we always say every time a Black man speaks out and says that he is being intentionally smeared in the press, we just say, well, Meek Mill must be paranoid. Meek Mill must be crazy. Again, how many people are we going to keep saying that about before we actually have a meaningful discussion about something that could be quite sinister happening in Hollywood? And yes, I think it is potentially so dangerous if these documents against Diddy are true that they will kill people before they allow that ring to be exposed. And that is all that I am going to say on that matter. While experts anticipated rate cuts, inflation in the United States is still a significant economic.
That's it.
Wow.
Just had to hear her ragging on the Jews real quick.
That's actually crazy, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fucking insane.
Ryan, are you okay? You sounded like you were underwater. Everyone in chat was concerned. I offered to give you meow to meow.
The narcolepsy was hitting real
Did I
hard.
actually sound like I was underwater?
Yeah,
I don't know why.
we're all very concerned.
I woke up really late today. Like really late.
Did you just say meow?
Like I missed work late.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's unfortunate.
Ryan,
Wrecked.
let's play Overwatch.
Let's play. Let me wait 50 seconds though. I just have this weird feeling that Allie's gonna come back around 50 seconds from now.
Hey, hanging out with you guys is really fun.
Hey, pop in anytime.
It was a pleasure having you. If you want, just come around and hang out. Right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did she say meow
I
to meow?
definitely will. This was sick.
Yeah, she did.
Thank you guys.
I was muted when I said it, but pop in anytime.
Alright, you guys have a good night. I'm gonna go to bed.
Alright, you
All right.
too. Later.
Yeah, good night. Franco, are you gonna head off too?
Yeah, I'm so
You
fucking
look like
tired.
it.
Yeah, I'm
You
dead.
look like it, yeah.
I'm dead.
Yeah. I'm
All right.
gonna head off to bed too.
Later.
Later.
Oh, what's up, Fairy? What's your question? Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, fucking do it. Also, hold on. Let me see. What's the discrepancy looking like? 7 out of 21? 7 likes? Hurry up. Losers. It's about Queenman, but never mind. Why never mind? Eight? Damn, only one more. Lame. You can ask the question quick, all right? It's fine. What is it? Jewish Mafia 9. Fuck what I want. If I could raid, I fucking would. Hold on, let me see. I might actually have somewhere for you to go.
Waste your money on college, you gotta go to
On today's events, I might not know what happened. During Queen's stream, he argued. Oh. Yeah, no, I conceded that. Because, like, I got my answer. What I was questioning, the possibility was wrong. But I was qualified. I'm just looking at other possibilities. It's not impossible that what I was saying could be true. It wasn't. That's fine. But Now I would just need some other evidence to back that up. No big deal. But manual raid. Go to Neve's stream. Very cryptic. It's about the papers being in universities. When he said, I have papers that are in universities, I said, it's possible that he's talking about things he can reference from universities. Not that he wrote papers that were in universities or stuff like that. I was wrong. But I don't know about the rest from there. Yeah. But yep, I'm going to bed.